Hello, everyone, and welcome to something a little bit different. I'm gonna have to rename the thing, but that's fine. Because I currently have it as Devouring Dark Session 20, but I'll just rename it to something more fitting later. One of our main characters is currently missing, so we're gonna do something a little bit different. Um, and we haven't really ironed out uh, the specifics yet, but we're figuring that out. So
We're gunning it.
yeah, doing it live.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So have we decided what level? Just any level, or does anybody
10.
have any preferences? 10 is
Yeah.
fine if you want to do 10.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a level
So
10 warlock goblin.
all right, fair enough. Whatever you want to do.
This,
Since it's just on the fly, just make a level 10 character then.
yeah.
If you two want to coordinate a little bit, you can do that.
Do you want to throw up some more characters so that we can just have character sheets?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I'll just throw up some character sheets on here. Let me see. Add
I have to go grab my
character.
handbook. I know. It's been so long since I made a new character.
Add. Okay. Edited and controlled by. Okay, so this first weird named character is for Mike. Since you're here, you can just throw on anything you want on that. But the first thing I would recommend is changing the name, just so that way it appears as something different than Imbim Imi Isani. I guess that's how you would say that.
That's an amazing sounding name.
And this one is going to be, excuse me, under player Renan. And it's the next weird looking one. Dashlich Yoslag.
I'm not seeing anything. Hang on, let me reload.
Yeah.
See if that helps.
That might be necessary. I'll make sure this is shown. That might be what's required.
Ah, there we go. So Fashless Uli. Are you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just the temporary name that they just.
But I kind of like it.
I'd say that's Thaslich.
Fashless. I kind of like that though.
If you want to keep it, go ahead. And while you guys are figuring that stuff out,
I'm not gonna quite keep it, but it gives me a name. Yeah. Simply, I added an R.
Right. Mike, can you see yours?
Yeah.
Let's find Warlock.
Okay. Just making sure.
Never.
Let's see. I'm just gonna flip through the monster manual, and that'll get me enough to figure out where to start from. If I find something interesting, then that usually gets me. I can build around that easily enough. Whereas for the main story, I usually just take the location that we're at, or just flip through and find something inspirational. Considering the Devouring Dark, monsters can be pretty much anywhere at any time, so I just pick some stuff that I like. So for this, though, I'm going to try to pick something fitting for an area.
I'm actually going to be a, I think I'll go with wizard, actually. Yeah.
Actually, this might be a good time to test one of the things that I wanted to test.
How we do against dragons. We're gonna fight an ancient dragon today, boys. Be ready.
Oh, not quite. Though.
What?
So does Mike have a character idea, considering he's
Yeah.
seems to be warlock?
I am going with the barbarian. Because
Right.
I've never played that one, so.
Well, it doesn't really matter if you guys die, because this is probably just going to be a one-shot, so.
Yeah.
I'm playing a wizard. I'm going to play a wizard lizard folk. I was like thinking maybe goblin warlock, but then I decided against that.
Interesting. Let's see. Here's the stuff that I'm looking for here. Actually, that might be interesting. Keep that in mind for the later part.
Are we going to do the same thing with scores and feats that we've been doing for the rest of the campaign?
Yeah. I'll just say that this will be a relative test run for.
An idea you have?
Well, to see how overpowered you guys get with a bunch of feats and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's cool. You can do that.
Time to power build.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so the array starts with 15, right? Not 14.
I'll pull that up. It's near the beginning of the book, so shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah, that's true.
It's where the guy's making the
dwarf guy.
Yeah. It's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8.
Right, okay.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I remembered it almost instantly, and I've already got my character stats.
Yeah. I think Bruenor is supposed to be a main character from the books that the D&D worlds are based on, which is the dwarf that they were creating.
No.
Okay, here we go. Let's see, what level do I have that? Good.
It's acid arrow. What level is acid arrow?
Yeah, this might work. I have so many ideas, I don't know which one to stick with. Because I've always wanted to try that, but that might be better for a whole campaign, though. This idea might be decent for... Okay, that's good. This'll be good. Let's see. Actually... Nah. skip on that for now. Trying to find.
By the way, I'm going necromancer.
Fair enough. Let's see. Challenge. Alright. That's an alright idea, I guess. Stick with that. Actually, I have a different idea. This is my process for choosing enemies. Yeah, I have a different idea now. Okay.
Gotta have create undead in there. Can I
Well,
use
we'll
create
see how that
undead? Is that a
goes.
6th level? Oh, nope, that's a 6th level. So I can't quite use that one, never mind. Oh, that one I gotta put in my list. The most useful spell ever. Counter spell.
Alright. Since if you're going to go necromancer, I may as well give you the chance to try out one of the items that I've established in the world. The clay heart.
The clay what?
The clay heart.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
It's made of necromancer's clay, which is that diseased stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks like a heart. And if you kill a creature, monster, humanoid, doesn't really matter, you can implant this heart, and it will revive it as a zombie with similar stats.
Cool.
To whatever creature it was. So you can add that to your items if you want.
I
So-
already did.
How should we do our hit dice, our hit points?
I'll say that first 3 levels, like we did before, maximum. And the other ones you can take average or roll for.
Okay.
Too many ideas. Gotta stick to one. Okay.
Oh, whoops. I'm not sure if that came up as anything, but...
Came up as something. It says Abjuration Components VSM. That's all it says. So you must have clicked something on a spell in it.
I did. I accidentally. I accidentally clicked a blank spell.
Nah. Well, apparently it's an abjuration spell with components. Let me see. Really
This whole is. Oh. Ooh, hello. Yeah. Forgot about some of these spells.
So I'll say that since you have the heart, instead of just rolling for the disease, because just having the item in your possession causes you to have the disease after a while. So I'll say that you can choose whether or not you have the disease.
I'll have it.
Okay. Which means that you'll have weakness to poison, but you can also, if you revive something, you can sculpt flesh for it if you wish. But the flesh turns out to be similar to your flesh, so if it's something that doesn't have that type of flesh, then it'll come out to look somewhat like your flesh. So
Oh, okay.
it can be odd. Which is why the necromancer in the main story, he now has a kobold with human-like skin, just walking around. So
Well, that's plenty of weird.
yeah,
I forgot about that, actually.
yeah. So if you're going lizard folk,
He would have scaly skin.
yeah, anything that you manage to resurrect.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, so although I'll tell you that I don't suspect that I'm going to be using poisons anyway, so you'll be fine in that regard anyway. But you do look like you have like thick stage makeup on.
I'm just imagining that, a lizard folk with fake stage music makeup on.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's what the disease does to you, so.
Do I get wasted?
Okay. So you guys close to finishing?
Yeah, I'm just getting a couple more spells.
Alrighty. How about our barbarian?
He's slowly coming along. I need to get 1d12.
So you're going gnome barbarian.
Yep.
Yes! Yes, I appreciate this.
Okay, and then let's see, we've gotten that. So with the ability score increases, we would also get 1 or 2 feats. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So the natural ability score increases that everybody gets. That's when you get extra feats with it.
Okay.
Because everyone gets their ability scores at the same level, I think.
Yeah, except for rogues and fighters get bonus feats. And that's it. They're the only ones that get it at different levels, but that's because, like I just said, they're bonus feats.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
hold monster. Ooh, that looks like it would be good. And I should be good.
Alright.
Okay, so I got that's 3. Now
No, sun, go away.
Alright.
So now I do 12 plus 2. 7, so that's 75. And I go to
So I have an endgame enemy planned. Just need some weaker ones. Actually, I have an idea for 2 endgame enemies, but I'll see where the flow goes for that. Oh. Yeah, we'll go with... Yeah, I'll do my first idea. That's better anyway for this, I think.
Oh, that's really cool.
Alright, just so that way you guys can start thinking about it.
Quick question, would I have any undead thralls by this point?
I would say that that doesn't currently matter for the way that the story is going to go.
Okay.
So
Just
it doesn't really matter if you have them or not. Because I was just about to say that you guys are
Everything is-
starting off separate, and then something is going to happen. So I just want you to start thinking about, you can be anywhere on the world map, and you can be doing anything. That's where I'm going to start.
Okay.
So think of where your character might be, what they're doing there. And if you need help, like, I don't know what's in this area, but I might be interested in starting my character there, I can just tell you what generally is there, if you're interested in an area.
My guy would probably be in the elemental chaos studying it.
Alright, which one?
The earthy one with the more earth elementals in it.
Well, there's two with there's two with each types of earth, or each type of elemental.
Oh.
So the southern ones have earth, and the eastern one has wind as well, and the western one has fire. So that's up to you.
Probably the one with the earth elementals and the fire elementals?
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah. Because he likes fire.
Alright, fair enough.
Okay, my guy has 62 hit points. Okay.
So that'll give me a good idea of where to start the story. Mike, any ideas?
Ideas? I have no idea.
You still make it.
I'm thinking my character was probably running with some other barbarians.
Alright. You don't have to have a specific area
Yeah.
if you don't really know. You just think that your guy would be with other barbarians somewhere.
Yeah.
Alright. So they would be roaming. Let me see. Well, they could be pretty much anywhere, but barbarians tend to be solitary. They don't really like others. But of course you're a gnome, but that wouldn't really matter if you're just running with other barbarians. Let's see. You could be in the Battlelands if you're at war. Does that sound cool?
Yeah, sounds good.
Alright. So the Battlelands, just brief description, characters have been there before. But they currently aren't with the party. There's a bunch of undead there that are roaming there from past battles. And whenever wars tend to break out, they tend to ship off their warriors to that area if possible. Although they tend to have like spies and everything in the regular cities, and those sorts of battles are everywhere. But they tend to have main warfront battles in that area just to keep civilians from dying, those sorts of things. And there, like I said, there's a bunch of undead. Like there's ghosts reenacting old battles. There's just undead, like zombies regularly. Whenever someone dies, they tend to resurrect. So there's strategies involved with that. So.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
By the way, I have my guy. He's kind of a bit of a multi-class. He's a fighter 1, wizard 9. So
that's fine.
Yeah. Just letting you know, because of that, he is going to be wearing quite a bit of armor.
Yeah. tends to multi-classing tends to be that they get super low level in one, and then really high level in the other, because
pretty much the reason why, the reason why I multi-classed Fighter 1 was more so he could have armor and weapon proficiencies if he needed it.
Yeah. But
that's about it.
Most of the multi-classing stuff you would want to get from another class would be super low level for most builds. So
yeah, there's only actually a paladin. Like, one of the best examples would be the paladin rogue. That's actually a very heavy hitter, because you get to stack sneak attack on top of smite.
Yeah. And depending on which one you want to focus on, then that's the one that's higher, usually.
Yep.
And I'll say that you can triple or quadruple multi-class if you truly wanted to, but you might not get as many benefits from other things that you might want if you do that. So it's a trade-off. Alright, so what I'm going to say... I'll get the story started a little bit, because this part doesn't really affect your stats or anything. So we'll start with Brashlich. May as well. Since your character seems to be done, I guess. You are currently in a similar area to the area in the main story where you guys just were, except for the balls that are crashing together, they're brown and red rather than white and red, obviously. And the elementals that tend to be created, you're currently looking at a floating rock that's it's misshapen, floating in the air, and it's on fire, and it's floating in the air, turning around, and you're just sort of studying it. If you have undead thralls, you can just have those with you at the moment.
Yeah.
So what specifically are you looking for in this area? But currently, one of these things is right in front of you, so if you want to just be looking at that.
I'm trying to figure out a way to imbue my undead servants with elemental powers.
Alright, fair enough. That's actually very fitting. So, let me see. So
this is actually a character idea I've had for a while.
Yeah. Alright. So, your lizard folk eyes are just zooming in a little bit, focusing on this rock that's currently floating in the air that's on fire. And what I'm going to say, you're going to try to experiment with this thing. Okay, so I'll say that you have some other elements with you, just like essences of elements with you.
Ooh, okay.
And, let me see. So you have an ice element with you from one of the other classes, because you've been exploring for a little bit. And you have a wind one with you. So, do you want to try to use those on this thing? See what happens? Alright.
I am going to try and see what happens. Let's see what happens when I push this here.
Alright, so you basically just open the stopper on one of these glass vials, and it goes up, the essence goes up towards this this floating rock that's on fire. Which one did you use first? Ice or wind?
I'm going to say, let's create a fire tornado. Wind.
Alright, fair enough. So you pull the cork off, and it goes up and toward it. And as soon as the element touches this rock that's on fire, it starts whipping up, and it looks promising at first, and it starts like blowing around the fire, and the rock is currently going around in circles with the wind. But then it becomes very the elemental thing that's in front of you, that's both fire and rock, seems to become much more unstable, and it starts trying to hit you. Like it starts coming towards you and trying to hit you.
Oh boy. I'm gonna cast. I'm gonna have my undead thralls. My thralls kind of start shielding me. Get in front of me.
All right. So they, as soon as the undead thrall gets in front of you, it hits the rock, hits it, goes right through it, and goes right through you, creating a large hole in your body.
This is rather unfortunate.
And you start bleeding out. If
I'm
you
gonna
have
conjure.
something to
I'm gonna.
if you have something to prevent this, go ahead.
I don't, but so I'm gonna conjure a fire elemental. Cauterize the wound.
All right. So a little. It's a little floating thing with like a head and two little spindly fire arms, and it comes over and starts burning you as you've told previous ones to do before when you got injured. And it seems like it's doing more harm than good, but you seem to be in dire straits anyway.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna
lay there. You lay there dying.
Yeah, I lay there dying. Thank you, elemental.
It did its best, and the rock thing that that went through you, it seems like after the wind element dissipated, then it just went back to floating normally. So it seems like your experiment went awry and caused you to die, unfortunately.
Well, that was the quickest I can have a character die on me.
Don't worry, the story doesn't end there. So we'll move on to Thunder Thighs, it looks like.
That name.
Yep, it is.
Yes.
Thunder Thighs of Sydney.
Alright, so you are currently on a battlefield. It's there's like ruined buildings. You think that possibly some of these buildings were used to create shelter for some previous civilization from you don't know what. They're too ruined at this point, and it's lots of mud and thick mud, very no man's land ish. Imagine, and there you were hired on. You guys don't tend to have much use for money, but they said that they would stock you up with grains and foods for your villages back home. So you decided to join up in this war effort as a mercenary. And you are currently on the side of there are fish people and sea elves and those sorts of people, underwater folk usually, but they seem to be standing on land just fine. There's like half fish, half man people, but they said that they would give you some land growing grains and those sorts of things if you sided with them in the war. So you're there fighting with them, and you're fighting against mostly humans and dwarves, some elves, but not many. And you're currently clashing against them in a furious battle. And you currently defeated the group that you were fighting against, we'll say. What would your character do in that instance?
Wait, what was... So there's lots of bad guys over there, right?
There's lots of bad guys over yonder, but you just defeated a large group. You just cut down the last of them.
Yeah. Probably yell and go towards the other ones then.
All right, fair enough. You can just charge in if you want.
Yeah.
You see the other guys fighting in the distance when suddenly a large group of undead that seem to be reenacting a battle of some sort. They look almost like, well, your character might not know what they are, but they're samurais. They have like plated armor, sort of like samurais would, and they have the curved swords. And they're ghosts, and they seem to be rushing towards something that nobody else sees, and then they draw their swords and slice at the other guys, your enemies, but some of them are your allies as well, and the ghosts slice through them as if they're attacking some ancient enemy of theirs.
Yeah, I'll probably go charging too then.
All right, so you just head towards them, and do you fight the enemy, your enemy, or the ghosts?
I think both.
All right, you can do that. So you're slicing both of them, but the ghosts, you don't seem to be hitting them so much as distracting them. Like the ghosts see something coming at them and they act like they're going to block it, but it goes right through them. So you are distracting them a little bit, but they don't seem to be damaged by it.
Okay.
All right, so you see that you're not damaging the ghosts at all, and your side of the war seems to be coming out on top of these enemies, but you don't know how they're going to do against these ghosts. So what do you
I'll
wish to
probably
do with them?
back up then.
All right, you start backing up, and as you do, you see some people who look very similar to you, like a barbarian-ish type. And except they have like horned helmets, and they seem to be charging towards the samurai guys. And just before they reach the samurai guys, you're sort of in between them, and they hit you from behind, causing you to have a mortal wound.
Okay.
So you have a chance to shout out for like medic or something if you wish.
I'll just try and stand my ground till the last second.
All right, so an enemy is approaching you. He's a dwarf, and he's heavily armored, and he seems to be ready to take advantage of this situation.
Okay, I'll strike at him.
All right, so you managed to get your great axe. I think you have a great axe.
Yeah.
All right, so you managed to wedge your great axe right into the middle of his armor. He was pretty injured, so when you hit him, it sort of dealt him a fatal wound. But just as that happens, he manages to worsen your fatal wound as well. Just enough so that way you can't recover.
Gotcha.
So you fall back onto the ground and bleed out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, both of you awaken. You are in a space that is it's like a white void almost. And you're next to each other. And you can see each other, so you can get up or do whatever you wish at this point.
I'm gonna poke the guy next to me.
I wake up and go and look over and like, oh, and I kind of sit up and hand out my hand for like a handshake and say, hello there, good sir. I am Frashlich. I just leave my hand out there waiting for him to like shake it.
I'll cautiously hold it out and shake his hand.
Oh, you've got a good grip there.
I am Imib, but many people call me Thunder Thighs.
Nice to meet you, Thunder Thighs. I look around. Do I see my undead thralls?
You do not see them, unfortunately.
No, my thralls.
But you do look in your item satchel, and you do still have one of your necromantic hearts in your pack.
Okay, good.
So you do still have your items on you.
So this is the next life.
I was not expecting to be in such a pleasant place.
Yeah.
I've done some things.
Yeah, and whatever afterlife you were expecting, this isn't it, for sure.
I was
Both of
expecting
you.
a lot of pain. This is kind of
Like,
disappointing.
Thunder Thighs was expecting more of a Norse feasting table sort of thing, like, this is the warrior's reward sort of thing, like in Norse mythology. So, being in a white void is not what you expected, needless to say.
Well, shall we look and see what is out there?
Probably. I suggest you go first.
Okay.
I'm not that good of a frontliner, says the guy in full plate armor with a shield.
Do I have? Do I still have my weapons and stuff?
Oh yeah, you have everything that you had on you when you died.
Okay, I'm going to smash down the handle of my axe onto the ground and see which way the axe head falls. And go in that direction.
Alright, so you place the axe onto the ground, and it stays perfectly up. It doesn't fall.
I'm gonna jump.
Alright, you seriously gonna jump?
I jump.
Alright, you jump and you stay in the air the height of your jump.
This is weird
Take the
and
axe.
kind of cool. I'm gonna, by the way, did our spell, like any expended spell slots or anything restore, or are we still, you know?
You're full. You're full health and everything.
Okay.
So you're at full
kind
health.
of-
You didn't do anything.
Okay. I kind of look at the barbarian. By the way, what race is barbarian?
Gnome.
No, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. And he has a great axe, so his axe is taller than he is.
Okay, I'm looking down at him because I'm like 6'8".
Alright.
You know what? Maybe I should go in front.
You are
I say-
currently still floating in the air.
I'm gonna. Which way is his axe? The blade of the axe pointing.
It's pointing behind you and in front of him, but it's staying perfectly straight up. It's not falling.
Okay, I'm gonna turn around and go in the direction that the axe head is going. If it's not falling, we need to go the direction of the axe head.
Well, I will.
That seems logical.
I'll take the head of my axe and hold the handle up to him so that he can get back down, if that's a possibility.
Well, you can try.
Yeah.
Can I? Okay, I'm gonna attempt that. Can I get back down?
Yeah, you pull on him, and he seems almost weightless, and he comes back down to the level that you're on. Your feet are flat on a invisible surface, possibly of some sort, though you seem to be weightless, which is why when you put the axe like that to let it fall, it didn't fall down.
Huh, this is interesting. At least encumbrance won't be a problem.
Alright, so you continue into this white void when eventually, after 5-10 minutes of walking, not too long, it may seem kind of frustrating at first, but you eventually get to something, and it looks like you're in a hallway of some sort, although you can't see a ceiling or a floor, but you seem to be walking on something, and you see doorways on either side of the hallway. Like, it seems innumerable doors.
Well, take the first one on the left, see if there's anything in there.
All right.
I take the other one, or however.
The one on the right?
side. Yeah, the one on the opposite side. Peek in. Wait,
All
first
right.
I check it for traps.
All right, you can check it for traps. I don't know if Thunder Thighs would think to check it.
What is Thunder Thighs' intelligence?
It's like 2. It's 15.
All right.
He's intelligent enough to think about.
Yeah, I also have danger sense, so.
Your
Don't worry so much.
Your danger sense isn't going off about anything in this place at the moment.
Okay. Cool. So I'll just go in.
Anybody who wants to roll for traps can do that now, unless if you already did. Is that for the traps?
That's for checking traps. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You think that you would see anything discolored on this door? It's just a white door. Like you can just barely see the outline of a door and a handle. It has a modest design on it, like the squares that are slightly carved out. Like 4 of them. 2 on top, 2 on bottom. It doesn't really seem very strange at all.
Okay, I'm gonna open the door and see if there's anything in there.
All right. So we'll start with Thunder Thighs. You open the door, and you see it appears to be a person in the middle. Like you see a forest clearing as soon as you open the door, and you see trees everywhere within this door, and you see somebody like petting a deer, possibly, in the middle of this clearing. Although you can't see anything else beyond that through the door.
See, this is me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I will see. Can I approach?
You can go in the door.
Yeah, we'll go in the door.
All right.
Ask where we are.
The person doesn't respond to you. They seem enamored with this deer.
I'm gonna go poke the person.
You poke the person and you come into physical contact with them, but they don't seem to be paying attention to you.
Okay, I will go out the way that I came.
All right. So you're going back out the door?
Hmm.
All right. So, so for the next one, Thrashlich, you see someone sitting in an open field that seems to go for miles and miles and miles, and they're just laying in the grass.
I'm gonna cast Flame Blade in my hand and walk up to him. Does he react to me walking up?
He's just laying there. He seems to be joyfully looking at the sun, possibly.
I'm going to look over him and to where his face, and I'm like blocking his view. Does that can react to anything? He
seems to crane his neck to try to look around you.
I say, hello there. Where are we?
He actually seems to recognize you since you're blocking what he's looking at, and he says, "That's strange. Haven't seen anybody. What are you doing here?"
I don't know. I got a hole blown through my chest, and my undead frog also got a hole blown through his chest, and then all of a sudden I was here.
You're dead?
I don't know.
He examines you and he says, "I don't see any holes in you."
I know. It's like really weird and kind of cool.
He says, "Just move out of the way."
You're not going to answer any of my questions, are you?
Well, hurry up with it.
So you have no idea where we are, what's going on here?
Well, he looks around. He seems kind of frustrated that he actually has to do this at all. So he's looking around and he says, "Well, this is the field of my home. It's the Waving Plains, I think it's called. I'll double check.
Okay.
Yes, the Waving Plains.
I'm gonna pull my. Is that the best answer he's gonna give me?
That's the answer he's given you. Yes. And you know where the Waving Plains are, but you walk through a hallway full of doors to get here, so you don't think that this is where this is.
Okay. I'm gonna check my spells real quickly because I have one I want to kind of cast on him.
All right.
To be a meanie. Where is it?
All right. So while you're looking for your spell, I'll flip back over to him. Thunder Thighs, you see the door across the way open, and you see the person that you came in here with in a doorway with a large plane, and he seems to be bothering some man inside.
Okay, I'll just approach them, tell them what I saw. Seems that these people are charmed or something. I don't like these doors.
Me neither. I'm gonna cast Phantasmal Killer on the guy.
All right, so do you have the spell description?
Here, I have the spell.
All right, so you want to see if he's having any nightmares or dreams or... Oh, wait. You're causing him to see nightmares or dreams?
I'm gonna make him see the worst thing he can possibly see, destroying his fields.
Alright. Alright, let's see. So do I roll against that, or does it just automatically happen?
It automatically happens, but then every turn, he has to... I believe he makes a wisdom saving throw, where he takes damage, 4d10 damage.
Alright. So you guys don't see it? Just to make sure?
Yeah. Yeah, so he's just like all of a sudden... Yeah, all of a sudden he's just like... in terror.
Alright. So he is... He looks like he's quite afraid, and he says, "No! What have you done?" And
now it's time to leave.
Alright, if you just want to leave him.
Yeah, I'll let him leave. I will let him leave, fearing what he's and taking the 4d10 damage every turn.
Alright, well, I'll see if he fails before you leave. He has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah.
He's not... He's just a regular person. So, we'll give him a 2. Why not? No. So, just as you're leaving, you see him drop unconscious.
Oops. Okay, he just drops from going to deal damage to him, whether or not.
Yeah, even if he took 4 damage, he would be done.
Oh, I should have just stabbed him with the flame blade.
He just falls over. You don't know if you killed him or not, but I don't think you're sticking around to find out.
Do we want to stick around to find out?
I say we should leave.
Okay, I follow him.
Alright, so he just was like, "What are you doing? No!" And then he falls over. That was it for him.
That was an overkill spell. I wish I would have known he was so weak. Huh.
He was just a regular person.
I wasn't sure he was a demon or something. That's why I was like, let's cast that on him.
So you just leave.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'll get you guys to make a religion check. Both of you. I doubt either of you are trained in it, so both of you get the chance.
I'm trained religious.
Alright, so you can do it.
I'm really knowledgeable.
Alright, well, obviously, Thunder Thighs doesn't know too much about religion. But our friend the Necromancer, we'll go with that first roll, obviously. So, you think you know what this place is. It's a type of, like, heavenly place. It basically, for certain people who worship good gods, they end up here. And you got put in the wrong spot because you're supposed to end up in what those doors are, and you're supposed to be, like, achieving bliss. Whatever the best thing that you wanted to have happen.
World
It's supposed to be fulfilled to
domination.
you. So,
World domination and godhood. Okay.
you basically just.
Oh, by the way, I actually just remembered something.
Oh,
I am going to run back, make sure he's dead, and cast animate death on him.
All right. So before that happens, you realize that
I just thought of that. Yeah.
This is a place
All
for
right.
spirits, and you just possibly destroyed somebody.
I just destroyed someone's soul.
Yeah, possibly.
I am an overachiever.
So you guys closed the door behind you, and then you wanted to go back in?
Yeah, I was like, wait, I could probably make him into an undead thrall, but then I just destroyed his soul, would it be possible for me to make him an undead?
Well, you guys, you can theorize that you are currently a soul, which is why you're in this area to begin with. So, you try to open the door?
I'm gonna go back and try and open it again.
Alright, when you try to open the door doesn't open.
Okay. Well, I should have thought about that before we left. Anyway.
I think I'll go down.
Like the area that door was connected to possibly isn't there anymore, based on your religion roll.
Alright. Well, I just destroyed a soul. Thunder fires. I feel accomplished.
So he explained that all to you, I assume.
Yeah, I explained everything in great detail, and as complicated as possible.
For souls, why do we have our equipment?
That's what I was thinking.
But
that is the most likely.
Okay.
That is the most likely possibility. And something you were saying?
I think we should explore. I don't know if these doors will lead us to where we need to get. I think we should go down the hallway.
And again, you remember that this place is supposed to be, you just come here and then you achieve ultimate bliss. You're not supposed to be in a white void or anything, you're just supposed to be in ultimate bliss.
Yeah, I also tell him that.
The fact that you're even seeing these doors is strange, to say the least.
So something seems to be wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, do we want to get to the end of this hallway quicker?
Sure.
How long does the hallway pause? Does the hallway look long?
It's probably endless.
From your current perspective, you do not see an end to it.
Yeah, I'm casting Phantom Steed.
Alright. So what is your steed?
I'm going to say it's some sort of it's like kind of like a guard, a guard drake. Kind of like one of those guys.
Alright, I'll say that it does it have specifications in the spell?
No, it's just a large horse-like. It does say horse-like.
Okay, so does it have like an attack? Like, can it do
Oh wait,
damage?
no, it does. Pause. It does say you decide the creature's appearance, but it does not say anything about. It's just there to give me super speed, and it moves 100 feet. It has pardon me. It has a movement speed of 100 feet, and it can move. It can travel 10 miles in an hour,
All right.
or 13 at a fast pace.
All right. So it doesn't have an attack.
No, it's just there for travel.
Okay. So I'll say that you can choose whatever form you want. You can have a drake if you want.
Okay, and he's a gnome, so he's small enough to probably get on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just be good at backpack.
Yeah.
And since, like I said, it doesn't have an attack or anything, so it can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
It just can't do damage or anything. It doesn't have attack stats or anything.
Oh, never mind. Then it's going to be a black dragon, just for cool sake.
Sure, if you want it to be. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't hurt anybody or anything. So it doesn't. It's just appearance. So you can have it.
Let's ride in style.
Okay.
All right. So you're just trying to get to the end of this hallway. Is what I'm getting.
Yep.
All right. So you've traveled. Let's see. So you said it travels 10 miles. So are you moving at a fast pace or a regular pace?
We want to get out of here as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
Fast as possible.
All right.
It's like 100
so
feet.
you travel for about an hour, and you still see just more doors.
Okay, we've traveled, and by the way, it only lasts an hour, so.
So you got about 13 miles.
Yeah.
And all you've seen is doors so far.
At this point, I think we should just start opening all of the doors.
Maybe.
Until we find one we like.
Maybe we should try and awaken these people.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Whoop.
Okay, so you go in the first door that's next to you, I assume?
Yep. Just go right in. I got my flaming sword out. Just like, getting ready.
Alright, so you open this one, and this one is stranger than the other two that you went into, at least. This person you walk in, and it looks like you just walked in the front door of a tavern. And this tavern is immensely large, and there are just people partying everywhere, it looks like.
I like this one.
Although, I'll say make a perception check. Yeah, you don't notice anything strange. Alright, so you notice with a 22 that everyone in here seems to be a woman, except for one person who seems to be sitting at the bar. A bar that's close by. There's innumerable bars, but the closest one that you see has a man sitting at it. All the rest of them are women.
I just pause. Wait, I got an idea. What if we kill so many of these souls, it has to get the attention of someone, right? Then we'll get answers.
Or we could wake people up and just take them out of their rooms. That might cause a disturbance as well.
Oh, okay, that's what you were thinking. I thought we were just going to hit them. Okay. I'm going to go over and I'm going to conjure an earth elemental and tell him to go grab the dude and throw him out of the room.
Alright, so you're going to interact with the man. So you summon the elemental. It just looks like a humanoid. It's relatively smaller than regular ones, but more compact and dense. That just seems to be the way that you summon them. And it appears in front of the man, and the man is like, "Oh, boy!" And then it just grabs him, and you're going to try to take him out of the door?
I think so.
I don't currently hear you, so you may be muted.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, I said just I'm throwing him out. Or not throwing him, but like carrying him out of the door. See what happens.
So you carry him forcefully. He's going to try to resist. D20. It's not a strong guy. He doesn't even look like buff or anything. He doesn't even look like the kind of guy who would get ladies or anything, but they seemed all crowded around him. He gets a +1, say. No, he definitely doesn't have any way of resisting. And it just picks him up, and he just seems like he's trying to get out of it, but he's unsuccessful. And once you pass him through the doorway, he seems to stop struggling for a second, at least. And you guys come out to join him.
Okay. Who are you?
I'm Jonathan. Can you put me down?
Terry, drop him gently.
The just sort of places him on the ground, and the man gets up. What is this place?
No. Yeah, there we go.
He's asking what this place is.
It's basically heaven.
Yeah, that's basically what this place is. Yeah. It's an afterlife. You don't know if it has a specific name.
We don't know if it has a specific name, but it's where you go when you die, apparently. I don't know why I'm here, but
it's one of the heavenly realms, at least.
Because I'm pretty evil, but yeah.
He says, Why did you remove me from that room?
We're trying to get answers.
Well, he looks around. This definitely isn't as good as in there, and he points in the doorway. The doorway is still open, and you can see the parties going on without him.
I'm gonna actually, Earth Elemental, can you go in and grab one of those women? I want to see what happens to one of them when they come through the door.
All right, he goes in. He picks one of them up. They have solid form, and then when he tries to take them out, it's sort of like in a video game when you're hitting an invisible wall. The person can't go through the door.
Throw her back in and come back out.
He just nonchalantly just tosses her, and she goes flying like 40, 50 feet.
Does she stay happy?
Yeah, she's happy. She doesn't seem to have gotten damaged or anything. And
that's kind of entertaining.
The elemental just walks out of the door to you.
Seems like this place might be just an illusion, though. I wonder if we're actually...
I don't know, but I kind of want to hang out with this guy in his room for like an hour.
Seems like this guy's version of bliss is a party that lasts forever.
With a bunch of women.
Well, he's not interested in men, I guess.
Well,
so
you don't have any answers for us then?
Well, I don't really know anything. I don't really remember anything other than... And he points into the room. Seems like he doesn't really remember anything other than bliss.
You don't even remember how you got here.
I've been here for As long as I can remember.
Uh-huh. I look at Thunderfy's. By the way, what is Thunderfy's alignment?
I don't know yet. Probably like
Well, my guy's chaotic evil.
it's probably
So,
somewhere in the either neutral or good range.
okay.
Possibly chaotic.
Well, no, my guy's not. He's neutral evil, not chaotic evil. I'm gonna kind of looking like he doesn't have any answers for us. What do you want to do?
I think we should figure this out. We should probably take some more people out. Maybe that'll cause a disturbance of whatever's here.
And we'll at least get an answer. I like that. Okay. And then I stab the guy with my flame blade.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely hits him. He's not resisting you or anything.
Okay, I just suddenly turn around and just hit him with my flame blade.
How much damage does it do?
3d8.
Yeah,
19 damage.
he just burns alive, and then as you're looking through the doorway, you see everything start to, like, vanish, coming towards the door, and once it reaches the door, then the door slams shut.
Is there anything left of the man? Or
The
did he turn to
man
ash?
is... He got lit ablaze, and, let me
Is
see.
he still alive?
He's still on fire, but he's dead.
I'm gonna
Or
cast Animate
non-moving.
Dead on him.
He's on fire, so if you want to do something with the body, you'll have to do it quickly before it consumes him entirely.
Never mind. I'll wait until we can find someone better. I'll let him burn in the hallway.
Alright. He
To the
dies.
next door!
Next door.
Let's
Well,
just exterminate heaven. This sounds like a great idea. This is my heaven.
Alright, so you just open the next door across the hallway from that one, or do you continue down? It doesn't really matter, but just for...
I mean, if it's endless, yeah, let's just get on the other side.
Alright,
And then we'll
so
repeat that pattern.
on the other side, you see someone who's having a similar circumstance. It's just their family gathered around and a bunch of friends and everything, but they seem to be also having a party as well. But it's mixed races and genders and everything, not like this other guy.
Okay, and since I decided not to animate dead, I still have my Earth Elemental. Because I just thought of that. I can't animate dead as long as I have my Earth Elemental.
Well, you could just unsummon it if you wanted to, but...
Yeah, but I want to keep him because he's useful for throwing people out the doors.
Alright, so you see in the room, it seems like they're in a large house of some sort. They're just most of them are gathered around a main table, but there's people just lounging around in a more living room style area. They're just hanging out, eating food, talking to each other.
You want to take the lead on this one, Thunderfies?
Yeah, I'll try and determine which one is the person and not the illusion.
Well, we'll say make an investigation.
Never mind.
You don't know.
Nope.
You don't
I'll
know which is which.
Then
Ah,
I'll just
damn it.
try and I'll just try and start grabbing one, taking them through the door, one by one.
Yeah,
Well, when
I'll send Terry in, which is the one I named the Elemental, in to help him with it until they
Alright.
get to the. Yeah.
So you just start taking elves, men, women, children over to this doorway until you eventually take a 10-year-old child to the doorway. This one seems to be protesting more than the others. And as soon as you get to the door, they actually go through the doorway.
Nice. Oh,
A 10-year-old child is not going to have answers for us.
No, but we're not looking for answers.
All right, that's right. We've decided we're going to just make a disturbance.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a feeling. Okay. Hold on to him. I don't feel like killing a 10-year-old.
The child looks up at you and says, "What do you want?"
Can we at least gag him?
I don't think. Yeah, I'm not sure if having the doors closed will help us, though, as it seems the illusion ends. It might be tougher for them to take the illusion and have to hold people in the
Ben
hallway.
said something.
That's my guess. What?
Yeah, he's here. So if you guys want to just put this on hold, or we
Well,
can.
I'm kind of enjoying. This is interesting.
We can definitely continue it if you guys have another day,
Yeah,
or if you guys like to make sure that we continue this, we can make sure that it's the next another day that's not Friday if you guys have that available.
Are you guys next Wednesday? I'm off, so.
Is that good for you, Mike?
Yeah. Wait, when?
All right.
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Yeah, I could probably do Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Similar time?
We'll just finish it then. I'm good for pretty much any time. I'm currently not working, so if you guys have any specified time that you would rather.
Yeah, we'll put it in the chat.
All right. Well, we can decide that later, of course.
Sorry, you people of Two Man. This is like a sudden change for you. We're all of a sudden going to this one and going to
Yeah,
I'll
put it in the title.
Yeah, the cross episode, crossbreed episode.
Yeah. I'll just put it in the title. / whatever.
And then like do you know how to do timestamps? Like give a timestamp for when actually we get back to the main campaign.
Yeah, I can put that in the description.
Yeah. Well, anyway, welcome, Ben. We just had a little bit of a one shot, which we're now
we started something different, so you didn't miss anything.
Yeah. No, I made a character that I actually kind of really want to. He's really cool. I like him. I'm liking him a lot.
Yeah, you can rewatch it if you want to find out what happens. But
we didn't finish it though, because like we want to get back to the main story with you. We'll be playing that sometime later.
Okay. So thank you then, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry for...
We just we voted on what to do, and we decided to do something a little different. That's fine. So we'll continue. Are you in the Roll20?
I'm about to be.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You've been consistently coming on time and everything, so it's fine. All right.
So for about an hour and a half, we'll play the main story. Yay! Because then I've got to go.
All right. So last time
nothing else.
We'll start with the recap.
I've got to get in the back room quickly.
All right, recap.
All right, let's see. Last time. Oh yeah, there's like these antler bird things that we fought. Right. Then some of them shadow, some of them not. Well, we got away from them. We rescued an ice elemental we called Frosty. Then we found a big pirate ship or some kind of ship that we knew what it was. I can't remember. But there's like 3 guys that popped out of it. One of them was the Tabaxi Shadow person. We were able to pretty much defeat them and turn them from shadow. And the ship was full of people, so we had to get away from that. But last thing was whatever the ship was chasing, that guy, some sort of roguish character, was approaching us, and that's basically the last thing that happened.
All right. Yeah, so
the ship was a man of war, if I remember correctly.
Yes. 3 rows of cannons. It would have been an ordeal, needless to say, if you were to decide to take that thing head off. because it would have to have crew to man all those things. It would have just been a mess. So at least that's what you guys decided. So you decided to run away from it. Who knows how powerful the crew members would have been. You might have been able to take it, but either way. So yes, we'll pick up a little bit before where we ended off last time. You guys are hiding underneath the crater area, and you guys just managed to get out of the range of this ship, and you see a few deckhands jump into the water. They seem to be covered in shadow, and they swim over to where you guys were, and they seem to look around. They don't really seem to be seeing anybody. So they get back onto the boat and begin sailing away. I'll just say that you guys managed to get away because it's just easier that way.
And we leveled up as well.
Come sail away.
Yes.
Come sail away.
Yes,
So level
I don't know
6.
if you knew, but we leveled up to level 6.
Okay.
So you can be doing that while I'm getting through some of the story stuff. So basically, you have 3 unconscious bodies.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
That's just
best.
something you have.
All right. So Howler is carrying the skinny Tabaxi, and the other 2 are being carried by the other 2.
I'm carrying the bard.
Yeah.
Bard girl, whatever she was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she was a bard, but whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
make sure to check his pockets to see if he has any weapons or anything interesting on him.
He doesn't seem to have any weapons, and he just has like mementos and things on him. He doesn't really have anything that looks like it's magical or anything.
As
Okay.
I'm carrying the bard, I check her to see if she has any gold or anything on her.
Well, you can. She has. Let's see. She seems to have. She has 30 gold in her pockets.
I'll add
Plus-
that to my inventory. Uh-huh.
I'll just say that it's 30 gold, but it's technically in like silver, copper, and gold.
Oh God,
So-
no!
So
Don't make me
you
calculate that.
Yeah, just
Uh,
add 30 gold. Although technically it's various coins.
there we go. All right.
Alright. So, yeah, Jaden is carrying the big Dragonborn, which actually, he looks quite hefty and muscular.
Which is why we let Jaden carry him.
Yeah. So, as you guys manage to get a little bit further away, the boat, as I said, sails deeper into the ocean rather than staying along the shore. You're not sure why, but it seems to have done that. Let's see. So then, yes, you guys get out of the crater because you see that the boat is quite far away. Probably can't see you anymore. And you don't want to get too close to the lava or anything. You want to walk on the shoreline like you guys planned. So you're walking along the shoreline for about 5 minutes when a man, you see him in the Roll20, a picture of him. He's very tall. He's got black clothing on, like a cloak, and he's got like the leg bracers on. Although the only thing that isn't in the picture that he doesn't have is the daggers. He doesn't have any weapons on him whatsoever that you can see.
Okay. I was just about to say, dark-robed man that is armed walking up to him.
Yeah. He doesn't have any weapons on him whatsoever.
Okay.
And he
Can I drop the monk and try and sneak off? Or is he too close?
He sees you, so if he saw you guys walking, you guys didn't notice him approaching at first. So you can try to break off from the group, but he'll notice you walking away before you hide.
Okay.
So if you want to, you can. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. So you hide down in the crater or next to the water?
Yeah. And then next to the water.
Alright, so there is a little bit of downward curving shore that you can sort of duck down behind. You're quite small, so it's easy enough to get behind. So you're along the shoreline. He sort of noticed you walking over that way, but...
And then sees you disappear.
Yeah, he sees you vanish behind that. But he seems to be walking towards the other two at the moment, at least. Which is actually quite fitting, because this is how it happened last time. So he walks towards you two, and he says, "Oh, hi, travelers. I saw your fight just a moment ago. Do you need some help?"
Do we need help, Jaden?
Yeah, appreciated.
Oh yeah, and the only other thing that happened last time that Ben didn't see, the frost elemental, after the ship went away, the frost elemental said that, well, he had a
sent it
conversation
away.
with...
I was just about to say I sent it away because I didn't want it going somewhere where it would be unhappy.
So it went back to the tundra area. That was the only other thing that happened. So, yes, so he's standing there. So, which way are you headed?
Towards Gaio.
Ah, Gaio, yes. I'm headed the same way. What do you want me to call you to? I noticed your friend walked away. Did he notice something over there?
Pause. I'm gonna say, hey Jaden, should we really tell someone we don't know our real name? I whisper super quietly.
He notices you whispering, but he seems to be politely far away enough that way he can't hear.
Okay. Kind of thinks for a second, and he just goes ahead and says, "What is your name? My name is Jaden."
So there's your answer for you. He gave his real name. His name. Second. I am Torik, the half-orc. And as this is said,
well, Torik, I just as I say now, Fran's going to speak up. I am RXT78. Not giving him my real name. I don't trust him. Yeah, I don't trust him.
He squints his eyes and he says, I guess he's programmed to say that. Is that his model number?
Yes.
I guess you're just rolling with it this time.
Jane smiles.
He looks over and he still bows to you, even though he thinks that you're an automaton. So
I stay silent in response.
Yeah,
I say nothing.
He looks over to Jaden and he says, well, I saw your friend heading toward the shore. Did he spot some treasure, or...?
I'm just holding my crossbow ready to see if he does anything suspicious.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to know your exact position, but he knows that you headed in that direction.
Yeah, I will, I'll say, yeah, he was just exploring, I'll just get in between me and Torik, and then wave towards that direction towards us. Does that make sense? Like, you can come over here.
So he's coming.
I'll come over.
All right. So, just one thing I want just to say that I don't think he was within ear range. So you come over. So he's just standing there, and he says, "So
Hello,
did you
Hal.
find
Hang
what
on.
you were looking for?"
Well, we'll find out soon enough.
Good, good. So we will continue along, I assume. And he starts walking ahead of
So
you
whisper
guys.
to Jaden.
By
"Have
the
you
way,
told him?"
by the way, real quickly, I'm gonna bend down to Haller. Refer to me as RXT78.
I'll just call you robot then, if that's fine.
All right, that's fine. Until we're out of this guy's presence, I don't trust this guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I whispered
So-
to Jaden if he has used the healing orb on him.
I don't have the healing orb anymore.
Oh, right.
Oh,
I
let's
ask.
think of that.
I pull up the orb and so I don't ask it. I'm gonna hand it to Haller because I'm
Wait,
trying to
hold on.
pretend.
I don't think you
Who
have
has
the
the healing?
glowing orb anymore. The healing orb we gave to the leader of your
Yeah.
people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so the healing orb is in his possession.
He's back at camp.
Okay, so there's
But-
more than one
but
orb. I
the-
forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The glowing orb is
Oh, the
in
glowing
your
orb
possession.
was purging. I thought the healing orb was purging. That's my bad then.
Let's see, is the glowing orb? Who has the glowing orb? I thought I
Brain,
used
I
it
was-
last time.
I was supposed to say I was teaching it how to speak Morse code, so
Right.
probably me. By the way, how's
I
that
just
go?
remember using it
Jaden
last.
did have it in his possession the last time we discussed it because
Yeah,
he was
probably.
using it to heal the shadow
That's
people.
right. That's right. That's right. Okay. What is
So
it?
he has it unless if you guys specify that someone else wants
No,
it.
I didn't take it. I didn't take it back within that time. Frayne goes real quickly to Jaden. What does the orb say?
Here. Get into my pocket and take it. I'll just.
So, are you going to speak to the orb? If you're going to speak to it, you'd have to be able to see its glowing properties. That's how it speaks.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of motion for the Rainin to take the orb from me because I'm kind of have my hands full with this Dragonborn.
All right. Okay. Frayne grabs the orb, and then I hand it to Aller. I believe he's the one that wanted it, right?
Yes.
Alright, so
Okay, I hand
Howler,
it to
you
Howler.
have the orb in your possession.
I ask it, can I use you?
It flashes once for yes.
So I'll call up to the half-orc. Wait up a bit. I haven't got your name.
He sort of looks back casually and he says, "Oh, come on up, small one. I didn't realize you couldn't walk as fast as me. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
And he
there's this cat person over here. You mind carrying him for me? You see, I'm a bit smaller.
He nods and he says, "Yes, I did see that." He bends down to take him from you.
As he goes to bend down, I want to try and use the orb on him behind him without him noticing, if that's possible.
All right, so
Like
since
the-
you spoke to the orb, it seems to understand the sort of person you are, it being in your presence. So it understands that it doesn't want, you don't need to speak to it to activate it. So it just activates underneath him, and he, the half orc, he's just like, what? And it glows on him, and nothing happens.
Huh.
He doesn't
I don't trust
start
him.
vomiting or anything. He just he covers his eyes a little bit, but that's about it. He says,
I'll keep my eye on you, but you're good for now.
"Was that some sort of truth-telling device or something?
It was a holy ritual of some kind. It says
Well,
if you were evil.
It allows us to tell if you are consumed by shadow or not.
Oh.
he looks over to Thranen and he says, okay, fair enough. Can't be too careful these days. And he picks up the person from you if you give it to him.
Yeah. I'll
takes it.
hand back the orb as well to train.
All right. And he introduces himself, and as he does, you recognize his name. Howler. His name is Toric, and he is a member of the Lame Mortali, which is the Deadly Blades, or the Death Blades. And
Lovely.
you notice that he seems to be roguish in style and everything, which is what tips you off. Your Thieves Guild worked closely with them. They're an Assassin's Guild.
Okay.
The Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah, they're a branch of the Assassin's Guild, which also networks all over the world, but this particular branch is localized in the Palazzo della Montagna, which is where you're from. So you've actually heard of him.
So after we go a bit, I'll ask him, so are you the only one left from Lama Mortale or something like that?
Yeah, it's okay. He understands what you mean. And he says, well, when Gaia was being consumed, I was on the outskirts. I managed to stay outside. And he looks over, and he says, he looks over towards the water, and he says, that ship has been hounding me ever since, trying to capture me, maybe.
Yeah, they tend to like capturing people.
He nods. But I managed to stay hidden during the battle. I didn't want to get involved.
Well, luckily for you, we have some artifacts that might be able to set your guild free.
He looks down, he raises an eyebrow, and he says, so, you're aware of our kind. What was your name again?
You can call me Howler.
Howler! And he actually seems surprised, and he says, I heard about that job with in the Royal District. Apparently you gained a recruit from that. He seems to be talking about the job where you met Gare.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was quite a good job. It panned out for the better.
Yeah, you did manage to get the thing that you were after, which was a document, a very old document that was worth quite a bit of money. And you managed to get quite a valuable recruit out of it, so it did work out quite well.
He is also not in shadow, so that's good. Even a better job.
I would say. And he seems to warm up to you a bit. The stories you've... Actually, I'm going to get you to make a history check.
History.
Yeah.
13.
Alright, so I'm going to give you two options. Would you rather the exaggerated version or the more historically accurate version?
The exaggerated.
Alright,
That's
fair
always
enough.
the funnest.
That's probably the one I heard anyway.
Alright, so the story you've heard about this guy is that he hulks into one particular story you've heard anyway, is he hulked into an alleyway where a one of his targets was, and his shadow is quite elongated, and he in front of this target that he's after, which is a human noble of some sort. Perhaps he crossed the wrong person, and one of his backup members was on one of your thieving teams because you work closely in tandem. Sometimes you take them on jobs to make sure, like, if somebody needs to get taken care of during the job, then you have an assassin that can take care of the job. So this guy is describing the situation: a large alleyway. He's towering over this guy, and the man is cowering in the corner, unable to move. He's so afraid, and his guards have taken off and run away. And he places his hand on the man's head, and suddenly he is dead. And that is the main legend that you've heard of him from one of his subordinates that worked with you on the
Okay, so that's what I've heard, but I still don't believe the details because it seems a bit unreasonable.
Yeah, people don't just walk up to somebody and touch them and they're dead, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem like he's magically oriented, so you don't think it was a spell or anything. So
so further down, I'll ask him, is that hand of death of yours still working, or is that just a made-up story as well?
He smiles. So, you work with one of my men, huh? They tend to spread the legend.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
He nods and says, well, let me just say that my touch isn't what kills them. And he sort of pats you on the back to show that his touch is not deadly.
Also, I say, have you killed anyone in the shadow yet, or have you not done that?
Well, actually, I took a contract from someone who was being chased by a large number of them, and that's what took me quite a ways up here rather than near Gaio itself. They paid quite well.
I bet they did.
So you're aware that when you kill someone, they get out of the shadow?
That was the contract. I was to liberate someone.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking that you know the facts.
Yes, it was quite easy, unfortunately, but you take the money where it comes, I guess.
True.
And
No,
were you
I
gonna say
said I
something?
don't have anything in particular to say. I'll probably just
Alright.
talk some stories or something.
All right, yeah, he seems to be quite jovial when talking about jobs. He tells you a particular story of he had to jump from roof to roof in order to chase down this guy, and he says that he wishes that he was more like you, a thief rather than an assassin in that particular job. He seems to think that before this, you used to be like a second story jobber type guy rather than an assassin, but he doesn't really know your past very well. He just knows
Yeah.
good stories.
Yeah, I won't tell any details really. I'll just do stories.
All right, he's fine with that, even if they're overly exaggerated. He's good with that. So he's just standing or walking next to you guys, sort of nonchalantly, as if he has nothing to fear at the moment.
Oh yeah, I'll also go back to Jaden and stuff after. Well, I'll probably do it later when we get to camp or something. I'll just chat with him for now.
All right. So unless you have anything else to say to him, any of you, if I assume Thrainen doesn't really want to talk to this guy.
No, he's just being silent and watching him closely. Though he might give him an insight check if I can.
All right. So, what particular
Just
piece of
seeing,
information is that he's giving you? Do you want to insight?
just like a lot about that, particularly that one job about how he was sent to liberate someone in Shadow.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Go ahead. He seems like he's not telling the whole story, but you can't get a hold of which section of the story is off. He just seems to be telling the story in a manner that seems off to you.
Okay, then I'll definitely be keeping an eye on him.
All right. If you would have gone a little bit higher, you might have been able to figure out which part of the story was off, but unfortunately, you don't get that information.
I know something's off, I just don't know what.
Yeah. Something about the way he's telling that particular story seems a little bit more different than how he's been telling everything else, so it just puts you on edge.
Yep.
Alright. Jaden, you want to talk to this guy at all, or?
Yeah. I think when we make a stop, I'm gonna try and tend to the wounds of the 3 that we're carrying.
Alright, well, they seem to be recovering while you guys are walking because they're in a resting state. So, you, with your medical knowledge, you know that people naturally recover as long as they're in a resting state.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
you know that their wounds are recovering. How well they'll recover, you'll have to wait and see until they wake up.
I want to see. I just want to notice, like, in his stride to see if he's got any weapons.
You want to know? You want to see if he has any hidden weapons on him?
Hidden weapons, just.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit of noise. Just a second.
Just looking for...
Yeah, it seems like, yeah, there we go. Seems like the person who was making the noise muted their mic.
Yeah, I just want to look for hidden weapons. Just the way that he walks and all that kind of stuff.
All right, I'll get you to make. This one's hard to decide which stat to use. Let me just bring up some stats here. Doesn't really matter what character, I just want to know which stat to use.
But sleight of hand versus investigation?
Yeah, I'll say you're sort of just investigating his physique to see if there's anything off about it. I'll say. See if there's anything hidden.
I'm gonna take this time. I'm gonna take this time to use my Warforged repair kit. Then, like, I'm just gonna start patching myself up as we walk. I didn't get that hurt because of second wind, but still, I'm gonna get myself back up to max.
All right, fair enough.
We haven't had a rest yet, have we?
No.
Yeah,
we're just like walking casually, and I figured, I might as well fix these few dents that I have.
Yeah.
I'm just walking casually while bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, you're not doing so good, if I remember correctly.
The last.
So I think we should take a rest and not too long.
Yeah.
At least a short one.
What time does it look like it is in the sky? If we can't even see the sun.
You were fighting those guys in the afternoon. And he approached in the afternoon, about late afternoon, early evening. So at this point, after walking about 2 or 3 hours, it is dark out at this point.
Yeah, let's rest.
Yeah, let's take a short rest.
All right, so you can take a short rest if you wish.
Yeah.
He'll stop and he'll look at Howler, and he says, "You didn't break a rib or anything, did you?"
I don't think so.
Well, you did get hit in the chest with a cannonball. So.
I was just about. I mean,
well, halfling ribs are way tougher than you typical orc fellas.
You are a lot luckier, that's for sure. So
I refuse to
You got
believe
lucky.
that.
You can believe what you want. That's what I said.
I am a robot. I do not believe in anything. I was just making it. I think what you call an expression.
You have a funny machine there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they do.
He just sort of sits cross-legged.
See. Do we
Yeah,
regain
I'll,
stuff
tell-
with our hit dice?
Yeah, I should roll hit dice too. Do we have 5 or 6? Because we leveled, but I'm not sure if we leveled after rest.
Oh, you guys leveled. I'll say that you guys leveled right after the battle, just to make it easier.
Okay.
Yeah. Brain just sits since he doesn't really need to rest since he already fixed himself.
So
So you can roll any hit dice you want.
I used all my hit dice.
Alright. Hopefully they're not vital in the time to come, but they might be vital now, you never know.
You rolled the ball.
I rolled all but one.
Yeah. You guys really got hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not back to full even, so.
Oh my gosh! Like me, I
Yeah.
took like at most I think I took like 20 points of damage, but then I used second wind, so I only ended up needing to heal like 6 points of damage. So
Yeah, I rolled a 2 on the dexterity check, so that cannonball was perfect.
Are you sure that cannonball didn't break anything?
I'll be
Yeah, he
fine.
was. I think he was on the brink.
Yeah, I had
There.
6 HP. From max.
Sorry if you guys
So-
hear my dog barking in the background.
I don't, actually.
So,
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'll
which one's
basically I'll tell
acting up at the moment?
Jaden,
I'm kind of shocked you didn't just hear my pebbles. She just was barking right next to me. I muted, but I think her bark got through.
alright. Well, so you guys take your short rest. Do you wish to continue for a little while longer till you rest, or
Yeah, during the short rest, I'll go over to Jaden and the robot, because he doesn't want to have his name known, which I understand. And I'll basically tell them that I think this guy is okay. He belongs to a clan or a group or an organization, whatever word I choose to use, and in Gaio, and we're headed there anyway. So
So are we far enough to where he couldn't hear us?
he seems to
I'm
say
kind of just whispering. So
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go into whisper mode. So what you're telling me is that this guy is part of a group of like elite assassins?
I didn't say anything about assassin, but something like that.
I have the I believe I have the observant. I have the observant feat, so I can read people's lips. So when you guys are
Oh, when
talking
you're behind
about-
them.
yeah. So I'm not really sure where Franin was in the order. So, and he was keeping a close eye on him. So,
So you were just walking in front of us, looking straight back at their mouths.
yeah. I mean, I am a robot, so my head was just turned around. I have eyes on the back of my head.
Well, I'll say that you can know that he was an assassin because he said he was telling about jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I want this man to know my name. Why? I'm like, I'm still gonna keep.
No, I didn't tell you to tell him his name. You
Okay.
can go by whatever you want. I haven't told him my real name.
Howler's not your real name.
No.
Oh.
It's a nickname.
Oh, good to know. Anyway,
Like
I'm gonna go back.
he has a first and second name, and this is like his middle nickname.
Ah. I just have Fran.
Kinda like
You
Thunder
just said it,
Thighs.
so I hope you didn't hear it.
God damn it!
Yeah,
I said it very quietly.
he seems to notice that you guys are slightly wary of him, so he's staying a decent distance away. When
And
you
by the way,
guys
I'm
seem to
trying
be
to make
talking.
my face. My face is as expressionless as possible because I know he's watching, and I have a feeling he can read lips too, though. I just have this sinking feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also kind of let my guard down because I figured there's something in here for both of us. Then he would not really have any reason to go against us. That's how these deals work in most of the time. If both parties gain, then
Yeah. He seems to be just fiddling around with some of his armor. He's
Okay.
not really doing anything too much at the moment.
I'm going to play around with my tinker's tools and see if I can make any sort of ammunition out of any of the environment around us.
There's the charred stone in the area. You can try to see if any of that is any usable.
Can I? Because I will actually do that. Yeah, I'll see if I can.
All right. Make an investigation check. Unfortunately, my game seems to not be allowing me in. So.
Anyone else's character sheets kind of messing up on them? Mine's doing a weird thing.
21 investigation.
What was it? Sorry.
21.
21? Okay. So you managed to find some metal that could be used as ammunition.
All right.
It'll be rough, but it'll be good for one shot at least.
Okay. Also, I have a feeling there will be plenty more opportunities for ammunition once I get to we get to Gaio. But, yeah.
Yeah. You can. It seems like you got a piece of metal about this big
Okay.
and this thick, so you can make a couple shells out of it or balls, musket type balls, sort of thing.
I'll pocket it.
Although, yeah, the type of weapon that you have,
I don't think it would work with that weapon. Yeah.
Musket balls would be different, but you can make it slightly bigger ones for that particular thing.
Okay. And then I'll just be I guess again, I don't need to sleep, so I'll be watching.
Yeah. All right. So you guys want to walk for another couple hours before?
Might as well. I mean, we took the short rest.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have dark vision, so hey.
All right, so it is dark. I'll just say that part of your disguise is Jaden. You're using him as a walking tool during the night, so we'll say that that's part of his disguise. You're just sort of like walking next to Brayman.
I'm pretty sure they both can't see in the dark, because halflings, I don't believe, get dark vision either in this edition. Yeah.
Alright, so you can be... That could be your disguise if you want it to be.
I'm showing them how to walk in the dark.
Yeah.
I'll just follow by sound.
Well, if Jaden wants to do that, he can.
I kind of I twist my head 180 towards to Torak and say, "Do you have dark vision?"
He seems to look at you and know exactly where you are, and he nods.
All right then, and then I turn my head full 360 back.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
So he just keeps following. He's just walking along. He doesn't seem to be doing anything out of the ordinary, at least. Oh, and that was something that I was going to do during the short rest. I was going to get everybody to make a perception check.
Oh,
Perception.
let's see if I can do that, because like I said, my sheet's messing up, and it's like having my skills collide into my tools and passive perception.
Yeah, mine completely said that I was disconnected from Roll20.
Yeah.
So I had to reconnect.
Well, it's been doing this for a couple of days on me, so I have no idea what's going on.
I don't either. I can help you. So I just managed to get back in, so I can see. Alright, Jaden, during that short rest, when he was fiddling with his armor, when he was fiddling with the wrist portion, you notice that the wrist portion is raised higher than the rest of his armor, and there seems to be a decorative symbol on this particular portion of his wrist armor.
He has assassin wrist
On
blade.
both of them.
Do you tell me that?
You can tell them that if you want.
Yeah, something about his armor. Seems he has hidden weapons.
Yeah.
He has assassin wrist blades.
I mean, what assassin wouldn't have a hidden weapon?
Who wouldn't want a hidden weapon? They seem
So
quite
you notice
useful.
it. And if you tell Howler, Howler would connect it with, he puts his hand on someone and then they die. That might have something to do with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would only imagine.
So that might have something to do with the wedge. Alright, so you guys lay down, or go to lay down for a long rest after a couple more hours. I'll try to bring up the map here so you guys can see it. Might have a second or two of infinite regression. There we go. So you guys are still along the shoreline here, but you're down here rather than up here. So you're making your way.
So on the map again, I'm not sure where the best place to go, because like this entire desert was a bit weird to step in, right? Maybe it's better to move past the desert and up to the trading post and then go.
If you want to do that, there's a couple of paths that you can use to do that. Based on where you are, if you could manage to find a seafaring vessel, you could just head straight south. Or you could just head along the shoreline or swim, or there's anything you can try to do, but whether or not you'll be successful is up to other factors.
I mean, we can always keep the lookout for a ship, but I don't think we're gonna swim.
You know what? I'm just gonna ask the guy that obvious has already been through here, and I'm gonna walk up to the Torek and basically repeat those questions. Like, would it be best to go to the trading post, or should we cut through the desert? But in my robot voice.
He actually, yeah, and he seems like maybe this is a robot that does planning and those sorts of things. So he's fine with that. He says,
I'm a multi-purpose robot.
he grins and he gets a good laugh out of that. But since you seem to be not an actual living person, he doesn't address you directly. He does listen to you, but he doesn't address you directly. He talks to the other two. So he says, if you get lucky, you could find a boat. But something different has been happening in the shifting plains since the wall has passed. He describes the illusions that usually happen in there. like the road not being visible once you walk off the road, that sort of thing. That your other characters in the other campaign thing,
Yeah.
they saw that, and your characters would be aware of that. There's illusions there. He says that the illusions seem to have been taken down, but it's still dangerous going through the shifting plains because there's still desert monsters there. They're just easier to notice from further away, that sort of thing. So you might be able to avoid them if you go through there.
Do you have enough drinking water to bring through the desert? Because I mean, that's gonna take quite a bit.
He looks over your supplies from a distance. He doesn't like go ruffling through your supplies, and he says, "Yes, that might be a problem, but if we get lucky, we could find an oasis or two. Considering that the illusions are gone, we might be able to see them from a distance."
I don't know if we should pin our chances of survival on luck, and I make air quotations.
I mean, I feel pretty lucky, so I don't know about the rest of you.
We should be able to stock up on water in the ice elemental place.
True.
The ice does seem fairly clear. It doesn't seem like it has any like mixed minerals or those sorts of things in it, except for near where the lava is. But if it depends on what you're looking for, you might be able to go in there a little bit and forage for some ice and then melt it later.
Do that. It's up to you guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I have some empty bottles as well. I'll fill them with water too.
Alright.
So I guess I'll ask everyone. So what are we doing now? I guess we put it to a vote. Desert. Well, I would vote against swimming at least. That's the only part I have a problem with.
I am a robot. I don't do well in water.
Yeah, I'd go. I vote for the desert.
I don't really need to eat or drink to survive though, so desert wouldn't be that big of a problem for me.
Torek, he nods and says, "Well, I didn't take that into account, but we still would need water, though."
True. I go over to one of the ice places and like, who said they had like vials and that stuff? I
have
gesture.
a bunch of empty vials.
I'll gesture for you to hand me them, and then I'm gonna go over and just start scooping snow up in them and ice and that stuff.
Yep,
And
you
then
can do that.
and then I go back over to Howler once I've finished and hand them back to you. Those will melt and then be water.
Fair enough. So, do you guys wish to take a long rest at this point?
Sure.
I don't know how much time has passed.
Well, you've been going for a few hours after it's been dark. So.
Okay, so yeah, I guess we could take a long rest.
Long rest time.
And Torek, he seems to have he doesn't have any sleeping stuff with him, but he seems to just lay on the ground nearby. He stays quite a bit away, like 50 or 60 feet. He seems to think that you guys don't trust him.
I'm gonna walk up to Torek and give him my my bedding from my adventuring or dungeoneering or whatever pack I had. And I'm gonna give it to him so he can use it, and then walk back to the group.
He looks over and he says, "That's quite a helpful robot you got there," and he lays it on the ground.
Yeah, it really is.
And then I'm gonna go back to because I don't need it. I don't need it. So yeah.
Yeah, he unpacks the bedroll and he lays on it.
Is there any bushes or something or anything? I'm just gonna hide in.
In this area, there's no bushes or anything, but there is the crater that leads down into the clash.
Why don't
And
you
there's
just hide
also-
behind Fran?
Fine.
You can do whatever it is you wish.
No,
Fran gets into position to kind of keep watch.
I'll just find some place to sleep. It's fine.
All right. Fair enough. So everybody lays down to rest. Thrain doesn't have to because he doesn't have to sleep, but he does have to have downtime during this time.
Yeah, a 4-hour period where I recharge, but I am still aware of my surroundings.
Yes. And that time, I'll get perception checks from whoever is awake. So we'll just say Thrain is awake during the time.
Don't roll bad. How many perception checks, by the way?
3, we'll say.
Okay, one of those is a 20, the rest are not 20s.
Alright. Fair enough. Okay, so you're sitting around, not too much is happening. And when you go in, when you're just about to go into your sleeping state, you notice one of those crystalline crystal things with the fire in the middle is floating near the edge of the clash. Other than that, you don't really notice anything for the rest of your time. But if you want to interact with that at all. I think you're muted.
Sorry. Sorry. I'll keep an eye on it, but I'll go into my rest mode.
Alright, fair enough. So it nonchalantly floats by, and at about when it's going past, like it came from in front of you and it was going past you, and after it gets past you, you hear a type noise.
From it, or just somewhere else?
You're currently not looking in that direction. You were just looking forward and just sort of nonchalantly didn't really look at it. So you can look over to see if that's what it is.
I do.
Alright, and it seems to be vibrating like it was before when you were speaking to it. And it's right next to another one, and it does the same thing in response.
Okay, now I'm watching them. I kind of turn around and watch them, but I'm still kind of keeping myself in downtime mode.
Yeah, you can watch them and still be in downtime mode.
Because, like I said, I'm aware of my surroundings when I'm in downtime mode.
I mean, we need 8 hours and you need 4, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're watching these two things, and one goes, and then the other one goes. They seem to be vibrating at each other, at least.
Like, this is just, like, Frank's just watching this with a smile. Just like, oh, this is so cool.
And then, eventually, you notice both of them seem to be floating towards your group. This is about after an hour of them just vibrating at each other.
I keep an eye on them and wait to see what happens.
They go up to one of the members of your group. It's Jaden. He was closer. Torek slept closer to the water.
Okay.
So they moved out of the clash and over top of him. And one vibrates. The other one. And you see the fire that was inside them starts to move out of the crystal itself, and then it goes down towards where he is sleeping.
Is it a bad thing? I'm not sure if it's bad or not. Should I do something?
Well, we're sleeping, so...
I'm just gonna keep on watching and seeing wait until it actually hurts someone. But I am
All right,
now. I'm getting
so-
my gun ready. I am at this point, kind of like
All right, so he.
on the verge of getting ready to fight.
All right, so the little flame goes down towards him, and it just goes over top of him in a circular motion, and then it goes up to, goes back up into the crystal, and then the crystal that did it it starts vibrating again, and then the second one goes, and then the
I
second
lower
one moves over towards where Howler is.
I
and
lower my gun.
The
now that
same
I see
thing
that
happens, and the flame goes around him, and then it goes back up, and then
No.
the third one comes over to where you are, and it does the same thing. And you can sort of follow it with your eyes. It just goes around you. And then when it gets to you and the flame goes back in, it vibrates again, and then the second one seems to vibrate in answer, and they both start moving back. I'm not sure what they were doing, but they did something.
Can I make like an investigation check or anything to see if I can gather the nature of that?
Well, it would be nature then, wouldn't it? Nature check.
No, I'm rolling so horrible today.
You're not entirely sure, but it seems like the fire was going around people, so maybe they were doing some sort of test or trying to figure something out about everybody. You're not sure.
They're allied with the shadows, and now the shadow knows everything about us.
Well, you're not sure if they were doing something bad or something good, and they're not covered in shadow, so...
Okay. Well, then, I'm just gonna kind of chill there. I was tempted to kind of get up and say hi to them, but I just watched them go.
They just left.
They don't go over to Torek or anything?
Nope, they don't go towards him. So maybe they found something on you that they were looking for, and you're not sure.
Interesting. I immediately checked my chest to see if that piece of shard of metal is still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay. I close my chest back up and just go back into rest mode and keep watching.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, so you guys wake up. No problems during the night. No assassin ambushes or anything. So that might be a point in his favor or not. Depends on you. So he wakes up and he says, oh, it's actually quite useful to have an automaton doing the watching for us.
Thank you.
Yes. I just figured he tries to talk to me and Jaden because he doesn't see us as a person right now.
Yeah, he's talking to you two. He's not talking to Training.
This is actually rather entertaining, playing a character that's pretending to not be a character.
And he accepts it. At least for now, at least.
So we'll head through the desert. We should probably go down to the shortest point, right? Along the coast.
Alright. Let me see.
Are the people awake yet? Or are they still unconscious?
Actually, as you go to check them, they are waking up a little bit. They are unsure of where they are. Except for the cat man. He's
still asleep?
Yeah, he's still unconscious.
I'm gonna pick the bard up and just carry her like I was before. Don't question it. We're helping.
She seems sort of disoriented, and she looks up at you and she says, "Oh, am I in a dream? What?"
Yes,
well, you just woke up from one, and I'd rather call it a nightmare.
A rather bad nightmare.
She looks down at you guys and she says, So, did you tell this thing to pick me up?
Yes. Yes, they did. I don't do anything without permission.
She just looks at you with squinted eyes.
I am an
Okay.
advanced model. Don't question it. Just accept it.
Don't question a robot, I'll say too.
She just lays back in your arms. Then she won't resist at this point.
Oh,
Yes, go back to sleep.
She looks at the two people who seem like actually people, and she says, "So where am I exactly?"
You're
you,
at the coastline.
I can see that. Coast of where?
coast near Gaio and near the encompassing cold.
Hmm. So, where the fire and the ice meet.
Yes.
Hmm.
What's the last thing you remember?
It's a fun place.
She giggles a little bit at the automaton, seemingly speaking out of turn of its masters. And she says, well, I remember a large blackened wall approaching from the distance. And like I was on a boat, of course, trying to escape it, but our boat wasn't fast enough,
So who
unfortunately.
were the captain of that boat? And is that one of you, or is that still on the boat?
She looks around and she says, "I don't recognize him," and she points to the sort of groggy-looking dragonborn, and she says, "I definitely don't recognize that." And she points to the cat person, and she says, "I don't recognize any of you either." And she even looks at Torek and says, "He looks kind of familiar, but he's got a hood on, so I don't know." And he takes down his hood, and she says, "Oh, you look kind of familiar, but I don't know you."
Interesting.
You're possessed by shadow, but we were able to release you.
By slightly killing you.
She puts her hand to her head and she says, "Oh, that's right." And she checks her back. Did you guys leave her with her instrument?
I have it.
Alright, so
I'll play it.
she sees that you have it, and she says,
I play it very well. Unless something happens.
"Oh yeah, you do. You play it quite dexterously. You play a tune, but it's no song specifically, but it sounds decent." And she looks over at you and she says, "So I was fighting you, huh? Just like those creatures?"
Yes.
She's going to make a roll, actually. There's the thing. Here it is. Her history. Oh, she's a bard, so she's good at everything. Not really, though. But she says,
She's decent at everything.
yeah. She puts her hand to her head and she says, "I remember a figure, person maybe, and they told me something. It's not quite clear." She seems to remember something happening, but she doesn't know what it was that was said or anything. And she says that it took place after she was in the shadow.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I'll just tell her I'll hang on to your instrument for now, but you'll get it back if you seem trustworthy enough.
If something tries to kill me, I'll make sure I get it, don't worry. And she just lays back. And she introduces herself. She'll give you a name. I had it. I pronounced it correctly a few times. See if I can get it. Zillaries is her name.
Sillaries.
Yeah, it's a half elven name, probably more on the elven side. It's spelt funny if you want to put it in notes or anything, but if you don't need that, I won't. I'll just put it anyway. Zillaries. I'll just put it in the Google chat. Google thing.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Zillaries. It doesn't really matter where I'm from at this point, I suppose, but my home was my ship, and it's just gone now. And the Dragonborn will come to consciousness. He'll come over as well. He goes, "Hi, how you all doing?"
Well, good morning to you too.
Morning. I don't know where I am.
I figured. What's the last thing you remember? That's the same question.
He seems to touch the bottom of his throat, and he looks around and he says, "I'm missing my scarf. Do you know where my scarf is?"
Can I do a check to see if I know?
You wouldn't have any idea. You've never
Okay,
seen
so-
him with a scarf.
Yeah, I just was wondering if he lost it during the fight or something. That's it.
No, you didn't see him with a scarf.
We have no idea where your scarf is. It's probably where you lost it.
That'd be a damn shame. Perhaps I'll find it someday. And he looks around. Yes, the last thing I remember, I was on a rowboat trying to get away from my ship, which was currently being inhaled from by those shadow beings. I was on a rowboat with a few of my crew members. I know it's cowardly for a captain to abandon his ship, but I thought it was best at the time. I was quite drunk. And the wall approached, and the rowboat. My arms are strong, but not strong enough to move me fast enough to get away. So, that's the last thing I can remember clearly. Do have and he's going to make a roll. Let's see. He's not as good as his friend, but he got pretty much the same. He says, I remember a man talking. Not much else, unfortunately.
Was it that man? And I point over to the cat.
He raises an eyebrow and he says, "That skinny little punk." No.
If he was covered in shadow and looked a bit bigger, you think it could be him?
More muscular like me? Still no.
Okay.
And he seems to be struggling to get out a memory that he can't gain access to at the moment.
Yep.
Kind of like the woman. So he says, "Well, anyway, I'm Gora Waterum." And I'll give you that spelling as well, just in case you need it. For your notes. Goroworm. He says, most people don't know how to pronounce it very well, so you can call me Skip.
Skip.
Yeah. I also put that in his name description. So.
I look at the robot and Jaden. You have anything to tell Skip?
No.
I think Jaden is keeping up his journal, so
Okay.
if he has anything to say, he'll say it in a little bit. But
So you don't seem to know any magic, am I right?
He says, "Aye, that be the case."
Yes. So that's why I'm a bit calmer around him than the bard, because I don't want her to play any any tunes.
Well, I do have my own abilities, but they be a bit different from a bard, aye.
Yeah, not like I'm saying it. I just don't want to give back her musical instrument. That's.
Yeah. So does Jaden have anything to say to either person?
Yeah, I'll ask him if they have any wounds left.
Well, the bird doesn't, and she's just sleeping, so you can just look her over. She's just taking another nap since she's being carried. Goroworm, or Skip, he looks himself over. He says, "I have some scars, if you can do anything about that, but otherwise, I seem to be in tip-top shape."
Howler slowly raises his hand.
Right. So is Howler in...
Oh no, we had a long rest, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're back to full. Okay, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, your ribs are a bit
I
sore,
imagine.
but you're fine.
Pause. I imagine Haller probably has a few scars now from being shot by a cannonball.
And we have half our hit dice back, right?
Yeah. Half hit dice, yeah.
Unless you didn't use any.
No, I used all of them.
He used all of it.
Oh, right. That's
So
right.
you currently, Howler has a large bruise. If you were to look at your chest, you have a large bruise on your chest.
Yeah.
But you still have full health, so you're fine. But your chest is a bit sore and it's bruised, but you're fine otherwise.
Okay. Check on the tabaxi next.
Still unconscious?
Okay. And I guess I'll carry him when we're ready to set out.
Right. So you... Goroworm, actually... I like calling him by his actual name because I can actually say it. Goroworm...
Sounds awesome. It does. Yeah, it does.
He actually starts patting his sackcloth pants, and he pulls out a corncob pipe, and he puts it in his mouth, and he starts checking the other side of his pants, and he puts some leaves in there, and he keeps patting himself, and he goes into his back pocket pants, and he takes out a little mechanical thing, and he sort of just squeezes the end of it. It looks almost like a pen, but he squeezes the end of it, and a little flame comes out the end, and he puts it in his pipe. And he has it in the side of his mouth, and he says, "So, where are we headed? What's our trajectory?"
Gaio.
That miserable place. What do you have there to do there?
Well, it's less miserable than in the shadow. But I guess if you prefer it, yeah. Who am I to judge?
Alright.
I can see well in the dark. I don't mind it.
Alright. guess it's better than where we're currently standing, that's for sure.
Maybe.
I mean, what's better than a nice beach?
Well, this beach isn't the best beach I've ever seen, but
I
to
mean,
each his own.
the elemental chaos behind us. Yes, quite relaxing.
Yeah, he witnesses an explosion happen just as you say that, and he says, "Yes, quite."
I mean, all good beaches needs a few explosions.
Where did you grow up? Did your parents raise you to worship Michael Bay?
No.
Do you even know who Michael Bay is?
No.
The Dragonborn pats his head and he says, "I don't know what you're talking about."
It is best if you don't.
But Torek seems to be giggling under his breath. He seems relatively familiar with the mythical figure of Michael Bay. Apparently, he liked to use lots of magic missiles. So, and fireballs and those sorts of spells.
Fireball, firestorm.
Yeah.
Very explosive spells. I now kind of want to make that.
So yeah, he giggles under his breath, but Goreworm doesn't really know what you're talking about.
At least someone gets me.
And Torek actually says,
I'm a little bit more open to Torek now.
Torek actually says, where did you get the program slate for this thing?
Well, we found it in a temple. Or you can ask him, and he might have some more details. That robot knows a lot of things.
I do. I mean...
he nods and says, quite a strange artifact, for sure.
Yep. Just an artifact.
Eventually, I'm going to get you to roll deception if you keep throwing hints out.
I've been waiting so long because I want that epic spell. He has such a terrible charisma.
Alright, so Goreworm and Torek are ready, and one of your other companions is currently sleeping. Goreworm actually, he looks out at the water, and I'm going to get him to make a survival check. That's a specialty, so he gets a good bonus.
A good bonus, but a terrible roll.
Yeah. He says,
can I make a survival check for some strange reason? I see him looking out, and I'm like, what is he looking at?
Sure, you can try. You can try and see what he's trying to look at.
Would that actually be a perception check, then?
No, you can see that he's making a survival check with your your perception, your passive.
I have terrible survival.
Yeah, you don't really know what he's looking for. But you notice that he's making a check that would be similar to survival, but you don't know what specifically he's looking for.
Oh no, they both rolled low survival. They are now dead.
They no longer survive, thus die. Yeah, you don't really know what he's looking for. But you can tell Jaden, you know Jaden, he's been doing most of your navigating.
So. Jaden, survival stuff is going on.
Yeah, I'm busy right now carrying this guy.
All right. I'm just gonna straight up ask Skip, what were you trying to find?
I was looking for some sort of landmark out on the ocean. see if I could place where we are specifically, so I could chart a efficient course.
Oh, and
He's more
interesting.
familiar with the water, which is why he's looking out at the water rather than towards the land.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna ask him. By the way, what was the name of the ship again? The type of ship?
Man of War.
Man of War. I'm
Man of War.
gonna describe the ship to him and see if that was his.
He thinks for a moment. It sounds familiar, but it's not my ship. My ship was a measly schooner.
I kind of now want to capture that ship. I say that to myself in my head, not out loud.
Okay.
By the way.
Okay. Yeah. And he says, but the way you describe that ship sounds like a pirate ship. No regular sailor would use red sails. Especially not a civilian ship, that's for sure.
I'm gonna go and get Howler and Jaden into kind of a huddle.
Okay.
We should totally, next time we see that ship, try and actually capture it. That would be so cool.
It would be a faster way back, at least.
Exactly.
Alright, so since his survival check failed, he's going to do something else instead. He's going to make a perception check while looking out at the water, which is slightly less good at. Okay, now he finally gets something.
I'm really good at perception, but I'm not paying much.
Well, you can, if you're still next to him, you can see that he's still looking out at the water for something, even though he said he didn't find what he was looking
18.
for. Alright, so you look in the directions where he's looking, and in the distance, out in the middle of the water, you see a ship. A very, very small ship. Just sitting out in the middle of the water.
Do you see that, Skip? The ship?
I do. And he looks back
and
says,
by the way, I did say that in my normal voice. I'm like, oh!
Alright, well, he wasn't really paying attention. He just heard a voice next to him.
Okay.
So I won't get you to roll this time.
Do you know whose ship that is?
I don't recognize a flag, but I think we could use it. Is anybody interested in capturing a ship to take?
Can I ask, how far out does it look to be?
It looks like it's about half a mile or more out.
Brain starts swimming.
He sighs. Robots never know when to stay put, and he goes into the water after you. And he's swimming faster than you.
By the way, I just remembered something. I have the bard with me still.
Yeah, so you start walking out into the water. You're about waist deep, and then you realize that you have someone in your hands.
Oh, I go back real quickly, put her on the beach, and then go back out.
Yeah, and he's way out ahead of you by now.
I imagine.
He's swimming at like 40, 50 feet per round.
I'm probably swimming at 15 per round. Unless I'm dashing. Yeah,
you're having a hard time staying above water.
You know what?
Above the surface.
Actually, I'm going to let that happen. I'm just going to walk on the floor.
Alright, so you start walking on the ocean floor.
I have dark vision.
Yeah, you can see just fine, and you see some fish and things going next to you. It looks like the fishing in this area would be pretty good, because nobody sticks around this area to fish because of the clash. So there's quite a bit of water life in this area. And you're currently about I'd say 100 feet out when you realize that you're starting to get water inside of where your pistons are and things, and you think that you might start the equivalent of drowning if you don't get out of there soon.
Damn it! And I start trying to get up to the surface if I can. It was cool while it lasted. I need to make myself waterproof.
Alright, so you start swimming, and then as soon as you're about to get to the surface, you hear the sonic jingle. Get to the surface before you drown.
Okay. And I start swimming. How far? So now, how far away? Again, I'm searching. He's probably like way ahead of me. I hope he waits for me.
He's in the boat. He's in the boat.
Anyone else coming out?
It's a scooter class boat. So it's got some cannons on it, but not too many. He just climbed up the side, like in one of the newer Assassin's Creed games. He just climbed up the side quite easily. And he's currently trying to see if there's anything or anyone on it.
Do I get to him?
Around.
So I tell Jay.
Sorry about the motors. Sorry about the motorcycle.
Yeah, we'll go back to the other guys for a minute. Sure. Okay. Just for a minute.
So I'll tell Jaden, it seems like we lost a robot and one of the newly woken up people.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't want to take this guy out to sea. I don't want him to drown.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we have a ship, but what do you say to our plan? The plan was to go to the desert, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how this will play out, but we might just want to go with it for now.
No.
All right. So what's happening is, Thrainin, you get to the ship, and now you are faced with the task of climbing up the side. So we'll need either athletics or acrobatics, possibly, if you can find a way to acrobatically jump up the side, but I think you'd be too heavy for that.
Yeah, acrobatics would be not good. Well, no, athletics would be way worse. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna climb up the ship, not jump up or anything.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do anything epic. I'm just like, and like, I'm just like using like the dagger that I borrowed from Haller, and I don't think I ever returned, and just to help me get up there.
Fair enough. You can try. So use your athletics. All right. So here's what happens. You're sitting there treading water, and you're faced with the dilemma of getting up, and you know that you're not as strong as you used to be. So you sort of grab onto where one of the cannon portholes is, and you sort of try to pull yourself up, but instead you end up pulling the ship sideways a little bit and almost putting water in the porthole.
I don't weigh that much.
Well, you're pulling it down. You're weighing it down on the side.
I weigh 267 pounds.
Yeah, well, that's more than a cannon.
That's more than a cannon, really?
Yeah, more than one of these cannons, anyway. They're not big cannons.
It's not much more than an average Dragonborn.
Well, you pulled it down a little bit, and you rocked the boat.
Whoa!
Instead of pulling yourself up.
I'm not back in the water, though, right?
You're still half in the water.
Okay.
Half on the boat.
Nice and slow, slow.
As soon as you notice, or Gore Worm notices that you're having a hard time, he comes back over to the edge and he offers a hand up.
Thank you. Robot's not good with water.
So he's going to use his strength, which he doesn't have as much of. but he did decently, and he manages to add to your 6 to pull you up onto the boat.
Okay. Do we see any living things?
There doesn't seem to be any, like, there isn't even any sign that there were people, like, it looks like this boat was just sailing a few minutes ago and everybody was in their stations and everything, and now there's nothing. There's no one on it.
This is weird. This is peculiar.
It is. Although the shadow wall may have taken them with it.
True.
He starts fixing up the sail so that way he can move it to the shore to get everybody else.
I start helping him, you know.
Alright, so you just start tying off ropes, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So that way the sails stay in place. And he gets up to where the wheel is, and he starts turning the rudder to try to get it moving, but the wind is kind of calm in this area that you guys are at, so it'll take about half hour maybe to try to get it over to the shore.
Huh.
So you and him are just trying to get this ship going. You can check the weapons on it if you like, your tinker.
Sure, I will.
Okay, so while that's happening, give me a tinker check to see if you can recognize like the weaponry and its state, those sorts of things.
25.
Yeah. There you go. So that's good enough. You see that these cannons are not in very good shape at all. It looks like they just have been swallowing sea brine for the past who knows how long, and it's rusted out the inside part. So these cannons might not even be fireable.
I tell Skips, these cannons are not usable.
He nods and says, they haven't taken care of their cannons at all, huh?
Yep. Should we just ditch the weight, or maybe use them for something else?
Well, we could clean them out if we had a proper crew, but
we don't.
So, perhaps if we make it to a city, we could crew this thing and get it into proper working shape. But till then, we'll keep them around just in case.
All right. Is there any food or anything on board?
There's like barrels that are marked food, which would have like pickled foods, those sorts of things for long journeys.
And I open it up and look in it to see if anything's still good.
It's pickled and brined pretty well. It looks like it's been sitting there ever since a couple months or so. But those things are made to last quite a while, so they smell like pickled juice and everything, but it's like meats and those sorts of things.
I take one out and bite into it a little and eat it.
All right, it's raw, but that won't affect you since you're a construct. So you just bite into it, and it tastes like pickled meat.
I've probably never tasted pickled meat before, so...
So you can decide whether or not your character likes pickled meat.
I'll say he does. Pickled raw meat.
Yeah. It looks like a hunk of cow, maybe.
I'll put it back in there. Put it back in there.
All right, fair enough. You just take off a chunk and put the rest back.
Okay, so is there any alcohol or anything in there now?
It looks like there's a few barrels that are marked some kind of alcoholic drink. It's written in a script that you don't understand, but...
Skips, pardon me. Skips, do you read this?
He sets the boat on the course a little bit, and he comes down to have a look, and he says, "Aye, this be rum."
Rum. And in Fran's mind, must resist urge to just start drinking.
He raises an eyebrow at you, but He goes back up to make sure that the course didn't get off kilter with the water. So
the minute
we'll
the minute
say,
he's kind of out of where I'm out of his view, I grab a glass and take a shot around.
yeah, it's just wood. There's just wooden cups laying on tables nearby. You can take some if you want.
I take one, and then
All right.
just pour a glass of rum.
Yeah, it just tastes like decently aged rum.
That's the good stuff.
All right, so we'll say that you're busy drinking for the next little bit.
Now
we'll
let's get
switch
back to
over to-
Jaden.
Yeah, we'll
And
switch over
Haller.
to the other guys for a little bit. You guys see that the boat seems to be turning and heading in your direction.
I'm gonna go test the water, see how cold it is.
You're gonna what? Sorry?
I'm gonna
You
go
cut out
test
a little
the-
bit for me.
Go see if the water's cold or not.
Oh yes, it's very cold. It's very, very cold.
Okay.
Oh,
How
How about we
chilling.
wait for the robot?
Yeah. I was just gonna. I'm gonna just stay on the dry part and see if I can see any fish to go. fishing.
Yes, it's relatively clear blue, so it's like a sky blue type blue, and you can still see decent ways down. And yes, there are some animals in there.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I don't have any ranged weapons. I'm gonna try and improvise throwing my short sword, like almost like a spear.
So you're holding it like the hilt up here, and then you're stabbing down like that.
Yeah,
One of those fishing spears.
and I'm
Alright.
fine with like sending it far out because I can just call it back with a bonus action.
All right. So if you want to throw it, you can. But there are some pretty near the shore. Like you can go like ankle deep, and you can see like little animals swimming around, or you can go further to get bigger stuff. Depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I'll just get some of the small things for now.
All right. So you can instantly pick up a few hermit crabs, those sorts of animals that are just sort of just sitting there near the edge. So I'll say 3 assorted crabs to start with. And if you want to start fishing, you can. Torek will see what you're doing, and he'll come over, and he just has his legs spread, and he has his hands like this, and he looks like he's just gonna go in and grab things.
Okay.
So he's gonna try. Get a survival, I'll say. All right, so with all of that, you managed to get one thing, and it looks kind of squirmy, and when you actually remove it from the water, a little jet of black stuff goes towards you from below its mouth, like it lifts its throat up, and a little jet of black stuff goes into your face, and that's the only thing that you managed to catch in the half hour. It's a little fish. It looks almost like a fish, but it's got like little clawed feet, so that it can crawl onto the land with instead of fins. So you can put clawed ink squirting fish in your inventory.
Claude, what?
Clawed ink squirting fish.
All right. Then
You're not sure what species it is. You've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Because this is the Aquan Sea, and you know that the Aquan Sea has a lot of creatures that are from the elemental plane of water. So you might see a lot more strange stuff if you try to keep going, but that's the only thing that you managed to catch.
Are there any like bushes nearby?
No, there's no plant life on the shore nearby.
Okay. So I'll just keep all that stuff in my sack.
All right. Torek, he is going to try. Wow, he does a lot better than you. He gets a large eel-like fish, and he brings it up onto the shore, and it's like wiggling in his arms, and he has to stumble around to try to keep it in his arms. And he places it on the shore, and he says, "This should do for a few meals."
Yeah. Do we have any fuel for fires? ask him.
He looks he looks at himself, and he doesn't have any fire fuel or anything. So if you guys had thought ahead to pack that kind of stuff, then you would have it. But if you ran out, then if you had a fire last night, but that I'll say that's the end of your supply of wood. So.
I mean, we have a ship now. That's plenty of wood.
Is there any cooking? Actually, that's a good question. Is there any cooking utensils?
There's a little bit of spare wood that looks like it's for kindling, sort of thing.
Okay.
So you could set up, and there's like a cooking pot, of course, for the crew members. So he has this large eel-like fish that he just sort of throws onto the ground. It seems to be struggling even when the boat arrives. It's still struggling, like he catches it and it doesn't stop struggling. So perhaps it can breathe air or something, you're not sure.
I'll ask him if I should dispatch it.
He says, "It's up to you."
Fine, I'll do that.
Alright, so you just stick your sword into the side of its head. Its head would connect to the rest of its body and it stops flopping. But it's quite long, it's about 10 feet long. And it's round, like this round. So he says, back where I used to live, a long time ago, we called these things guardians. They usually swim around in pools that, and he's trying to think of the word, pools connected to the elemental plane of water. They usually live in smaller pools, but perhaps this one got lost. And they call them the Guardians. They call them Guardians because they tend to overpower any other life that lives in the smaller pools that they live in.
They're like the guardians of those pools.
Yeah. That's why they're called that. Since he got extremely lucky, he managed to find something big. So, the boat arrives. Everybody can climb aboard if they wish. It's about 100 feet offshore because the water's too shallow for it to get any closer.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll take the tabaxi.
Alright. So, yeah, you guys walk out, and it gets to about shoulder height, the water, so you carefully carry this tabaxi above your head for a little bit, and then you manage to get him onto the boat. You throw him.
Who's carrying the bard?
So I wake
she
up
woke
the
up.
bard. Yeah.
She woke up.
Yeah.
After you put her on the beach, she sort of woke up and just sort of was playing around with seashells and those sorts of things. So she climbs onto the boat easily.
Frank kind of looks over the thing railing and says, "We got a boat."
Yep. So you guys easily get into the boat. Yeah, that athletics, I'll say, is for throwing him into the boat, the guy into the boat, so he easily gets in. But for you guys don't really need it because you have people there to help you get into the boat. So we'll just say that they help you into the boat. So everybody gets into the boat, and you guys can start your journey if you wish.
Come sail away, come sail away. Oh, okay.
So this is a schooner. So it doesn't have too much armor on it or anything. It looks like it may have been a civilian ship at one point that just has cannons on it for protection from pirates. And it looks like they didn't use those cannons very often.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's a bunch of cannonballs just sitting in a corner. And they're rusted as well. So it looks like they just bought a bunch of cannonballs and just kept them and then never used them.
Taking
So
it
there's
as the bard, so you were a pirate, right? Do you have any idea how to run this ship?
She looks at the cannons and she says, "This ship is in a sorry state." And she looks at the
Yes.
sides. The paint is peeling off the sides of the boat and everything.
It is sellable though. It will have to do.
It does float.
Actually, that's a really good point I just pointed out to myself. I go check for any leaks.
Yeah, you don't see any leaks. It's
Okay.
floating.
How many is needed to run this ship, like to sail it?
Well, if you wanted the cannons manned at all times,
No, without manning the cannons.
okay, so
the cannons are bad, people. The cannons are bad, just so you know.
all right. So the cannons, if you were to have them all manned at all times, you would need a crew of let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So to constantly have them manned, you would need 3 shifts of 10 people.
What about without the cannons?
Okay, so without the cannons, you would need people to man the rigging, and the crow's nest. So about 9 people on rotation, unless if you wanted them to have like 2 shifts. It depends on how many shifts you want.
So 3 people at a time is what you're saying.
It's 9 people, and you need to rotate them out.
Okay, so it's 9, and then you need to rotate another 9.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then the cannons.
Pause. Is it a 2-mast schooner or a 4-mast schooner?
Let me see.
Because if it's a 2-mast, it only needs 5 people without cannons. By the way, I know a lot about ships because my brother loves ships. So.
Well, then I'd say it's a 4, but I think
4 is a really big ship. We got lucky, guys.
it might be a 2, but I'm saying like crow's nest needs to be manned. The front of the ship needs to be manned at all times, just to make sure that you don't run into rocks, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So for the main rigging, you probably need 5 people, but then you would need the crow's nest to be manned at all times, and you need the front of the ship to be manned at all times. Just because it's so dangerous in these waters, like a kraken could ambush you at any time, so you need people constantly watching. So I'd say a big 2-mast.
I'll take crow's nest since I don't need to sleep, and it would be like the perfect thing for the sniper.
Yeah. So you can go up there, but since you don't have enough people to constantly be manning it, Gore Warham, he says, "Well, as long as you people do certain jobs at certain times, when I need them to steer the ship, I can steer the ship. As long as you guys do the certain jobs I need at those times, we should be all right, as long as we don't encounter too much hubbubaloo."
Cracking off the port bow.
And he's like, "Don't joke about that. I saw a man of war go down in 1 strike."
Again, he's not paying attention to the fact that I just said that in my real voice.
Yeah, he's not.
Okay. I'm wondering if he even cares at this point.
Yeah, he's not really paying attention.
Okay. Anyone else notice that? Because I did shout that.
Torek, he is currently underneath, and you are up in the crow's nest when you were shouting that, so he doesn't really notice.
Yeah, I
And-
also go underneath to see what we have, like what he saw earlier.
Well, you
Yeah,
guys find an empty barrel of alcohol.
There were more
so
barrels, right?
you see a tapped keg. You see a tapped keg on the right on a table, and it seems to have been freshly used. So somebody who brought the ship here must have used it already.
Yeah.
And you see all the other stuff like the food stores and the ammo stores and those sorts
The
of things.
cooking area.
Yeah. All the things necessary to keep a larger group of people alive for
I was
a
just about
little
to say
while.
with the cannons, because if it's a four-mast schooner with guns built into it, then I mean normally they didn't have guns built into it, so I have no idea. I don't know
the
actually
ones
about
the ones that you probably would have even gone near in this day and age wouldn't have had cannons on them.
Yeah,
So.
I was just about to say I'm kind of like, oh, this is a schooner with cannons. That's a first.
Well, yeah, but schooners back then did have cannons.
They
Back
probably
in
did.
these
I was just about
times.
to say. I think every ship back then had cannons.
Yeah, a lot of them did, unless if they were
Like,
little
really,
piddly
yeah.
civilian ships.
Pretty much, if they were big enough for a crew, they had probably cannons.
Yeah. So, if you want to man those, you'd need to hire a crew, but
Of like 12 people or more.
Yeah. So that'd be quite a bit, because there's
I
5
hoped,
on each side.
I hope the ship was gonna be fine on its own, because I'm planning to take one of the kegs and ask the half-orc if he wants to play cards.
He'll come. He's already down there, so he'll play with you as long as, like, whenever jobs are needed.
Yeah.
Or a worm will be like, man those sheets, that sort of thing. But otherwise, he's just letting you guys. As long as it's like a constant pace, then it's fine. They don't need to be watched all the time, but.
No.
If you had a full crew, they would be watched all the time. It's just that most of the time the people would be just sitting around lounging, doing things, just in case like a freak storm came along, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. I'll just stay on the rigging.
All right.
Follow
So.
any directions.
Yeah, he'll tell you like every once in a while, like tighten this up, tighten that up, that sort of thing. Just. So that way you get some exercise walking back and forth, making sure everything's good. The ropes, as you're looking at them, I'll say that the ropes are not in that great of condition. If you could replace them, that would be the best course of action. It seems like this was a ship that was being used. They didn't have enough money to keep with the upkeep, but they were still using it, so it's not in that great of condition.
Okay. Do you guys want me to make perception checks as I'm up in the crow's nest?
Yes, as you guys are traveling, but what time did everybody need to go?
Yeah, probably soon.
In about 35 minutes. 34.
All right.
I could actually stay for another probably hour without being in trouble. I just need at least a half an hour to get ready and that stuff for my other game.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right, so we'll say we'll go to 7, or my time, which is the next hour. So we'll go to the next full hour, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
All right, so if there's anything else specifically that you want to find on the ship, you can look for those. There are some tests that you guys haven't looked in. And the beds don't look like they're in that great of condition either. They don't look like they've been washed in years. And people have been sleeping in them constantly, so they're They're a mess. All the beds are messy. It's imagine like you're just stealing a ship from somebody and it was completely not taken care of, and you're like in a video game or something, and you're starting from very bottom rung to your stuff. It's not good condition stuff.
We
If you
definitely
wanna-
want to get this repaired before we use it for our
Yeah.
Black Flag style
Yeah.
adventures.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, say, go on board a ship with a large crew of people, you would have to get the people, you would have to improve your ship so that way if it gets hit by a cannon, you don't instantly sink, those sorts of things.
We'll name it the new Titanic.
It's unsinkable!
It currently, like, you've looked on the edges and things, and you don't see that it has any name on it. And if it did, like, there is a nameplate there, but the paint is all gone, so you don't know if it had a name at one point or not. So if you
Wouldn't this be the first Titanic? So wouldn't it just be the Titanic? Because this world probably hasn't had a Titanic yet.
well, it's
Damn it,
whatever you want it to be.
I like this Titanic idea, though.
You three, the Gore Worm doesn't care, and no one else seems to care what you call it. So if you guys want to keep the ship, you can name it whatever you want, you three. So you can think about that later if you want. As a group.
I'm voting for Titanic, but if you come up with anything better, sure.
Alright, I'll let you guys decide over the week.
Yeah.
I'm with Howler on Titanic.
Yeah, I'll go with whatever.
I'll say that you find, eventually you'll find a can of paint and then you can fix it up so that way it has a name and everything. Later. So Gore Worm is going to be your navigator and your steering person. And we have everything else relatively covered for how small of a crew you guys have at the moment. So you guys are good. I'll say, let me see, while you guys are traveling, the NPCs, Toric will be under deck, making sure that nothing's happening under deck, unless if people go to hang out with him, then he'll hang out with them, that sort of thing. The half-elf, I forget her name already. Zillary.
Zillary, I like that name.
Now I can't say it.
I'm just going to say Zillary. That's her name. Zillary. That's her name now.
Her name is, she says that her name is obviously hard to pronounce for people who speak mostly common. So she says you can call her Zill.
Okay,
so
Zill.
Zill, she'll be on the upper deck, near the front. So if you guys want to interact with her, that's where she'll be. And everybody, all the NPCs seem to be getting along well with each other at the moment. Perhaps they will stay and form a new crew of sorts and be your first and second mates sort of thing. So they are getting along quite well at the moment, but you're not sure.
In that case, who's going to be the captain?
Well, that's up to you guys.
I think it has to be a person, so you're out of the job.
But I am a person!
Alright, so the only thing that I was going to say before we let you squabble over who's going to be captain is Toric. You don't know if he's going to stay with the ship. He seems like he's more loyal to his assassin. Assassin's guild. So he might not stay with the ship. But he is getting along well with the other two.
Okay. I vote someone with charisma.
I have plenty of charisma.
I have none, so never mind. You are a better candidate.
And it seems like
Wait,
Jaden
why
doesn't really
can we
care.
not? Can we not vote for Skip?
I disagree. He's the first mate. He already has a job.
He's the navigator, I thought.
Fine with if you want to choose him as captain, but he
I say
he wants to stick with his
actually-
job as being navigator and the person who steers the boat.
I think he's best at that, so he should stay that.
I say it should be one of you two, but you should settle it with an arm wrestling competition.
I disagree. I think we should settle it with words, like proper.
Pause.
Proper.
Pause. What is Howler's strength?
I am fast, not strong.
Okay, I have an 8 in strength.
We'll settle it over a match of cards. How about that?
What would that roll be? Intelligence based?
What,
I think
for a match
it's
of cards?
I think it's sleight of hand.
It depends. You can use a myriad of things to try to outsmart and outwit your opponent in cards.
Because here's the thing, I can't click on sleight of hands because remember how I said my skills were like merging with my passive perception and tools?
So
Because of that, I can't use sleight of hands.
it's Dex plus proficiency if you're proficient.
Okay, Dex. I'm
I'm
really good at Dex.
I'll still call for the arm wrestling.
I kind of want to do that too since we're both pretty weak.
Because they both seem pretty weak, yeah.
Yeah.
They might be on the same level.
I think we are. What's your strength, Fowler? Is it 8 or 10?
8.
So you're the same level of strength as me, even though I'm 4 times larger than you.
Yeah, your
I prefer
sleight of
to have
hand is
things in
4.
my favor, but
So you
that's.
Thank you.
So if you did, it's up to you guys, but if you want to use cards, you can. And if you think it applies, and you can think of a way that it would apply, then I'll let you use that stat, but if it doesn't make sense, then you can't use it.
Okay.
Whereas
Let's
in
do this.
arm wrestling, you would have to use athletics. So
That could go either way for us, though.
Yep.
Which
it
I
depends
think
on what
actually
you
that
want to do.
that would probably be the best one since we're both in the same boat when it comes to.
How about we do a hiding competition of hide and seek?
No.
Howler wants to do something that he is definitely going to win. That's Howler's motive.
I'm pretty good at stealth, just not as good as Howler.
Yeah, because he has proficiency and then his expertise, and then he has his cloak. So
I should totally take a level in Rogue.
well,
I just got
it's
my
your
new
character.
expertise too. I picked them.
Well, that's good. So it's up to you guys.
I say arm
So-
wrestling. I don't trust Howler to play fair. I know him.
I'm with Jason.
Well, I do think this is a bit unfair, seeing as he is quite a bit larger than me.
Yeah. But I
Trust
look at
me.
Howler, I'm like,
Trust me, I lost an arm wrestling match with a kitten once. Let's do this.
I've lost an arm wrestling match to a mouse.
Wow, that's
You
actually
believe me?
impressive. That's actually impressive.
All right, did I click something?
Fine, if you want to
actually-
do an arm
Oh,
wrestling, we can do one.
I put my smaller arm on the table because one arm is smaller than the other because one is a
We'll do
gun.
best of 3.
Okay.
First of 3. Okay.
First one, go.
Go.
Yep,
All right,
athletics.
2 contested rolls.
Howler wins this one.
All right, so he wins the first one. You guys battle it out, and it seems like Thrainin is just about to overcome, and then he loses his grip a little bit, and then Howler takes it.
I
Two.
really thought you would be stronger. And then you
No,
go
I'm-
that. I'm gonna use luck because I'm a cheating bastard.
And you still didn't make it.
I have the same strength as you, so.
So this time, powerful muscles in your armor, in your armored arm. You
They
managed
actually
to-
work.
You managed to you use your body weight to push him down a little bit, and he was trying to use his body weight to push back up, but it was unsuccessful.
Okay, final one.
Okay.
Marbles.
Damn.
And I use luck.
Oh my!
Oh no, it's a draw.
Oh my god, what are we doing this? What are we doing?
Wow.
Wait, don't you have
So-
to use the new roll? With
No,
Yeah,
luck?
he
I can
has to-
choose.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
choose which one of the rolls.
Oh,
But
so
I'm
where
gonna,
do you-
I'm gonna use luck to make you re-roll. How about that?
That's better, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Do I have to use the new roll?
no, I
Yes.
choose which roll you use.
Oh, you do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
either way, it's
So
still.
it's neck and neck. You're not moving very far either direction at the moment. You'll have to roll again.
Just goes on for hours.
It goes on for about 2 minutes, which is
10.
quite long for one of these things.
Haha.
Howler is the captain.
All right, so this time, while you're neck and neck, Howler just goes over there. Poof. And down.
Damn it! I lost an arm wrestling match to a halfling.
Hey, look, a distraction.
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened. So you managed
Look,
to get him.
hey, look, you dork! There's something in the air to distract you.
Yeah,
The orb is speaking to you. Look.
yeah, that's exactly what happened. So Howler is the leader of this ship. He sets headings and decides where the boat goes.
We go down towards past the desert, and my first job as a captain will be downstairs getting drunk. So see you later.
And
I climb back up to the crow's nest.
and Skip is just like, aye, not again. Another drunk captain. But he's accepting of it for now, at least. No mutiny yet.
No mutiny yet.
Yeah. So you guys are on the water. I'll try to bring up the map again. I say try, but I will succeed in bringing up the map. But I'll just bring up the map. Oh, there's my infinite. There we go.
The world has been destroyed.
So you guys found the boat and the shore, along the shoreline, right about here, where the tip of my mouse is. So you guys are currently heading directly south. That is your heading.
Yep.
And you guys are planning on heading here?
Past the
Or
desert
here.
and through the trade post.
Okay,
So
so you're gonna go
go-
over here?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's going directly south for now, and then maybe in a couple days he'll turn a little bit more east, so that way you guys end up here. He's pretty decent at navigating, so he'll be able to lead you where you want to go.
Yep.
So, and he knows that there is a small dock in this area, approximately, so that's what he's aiming for. It's usually used for small merchant ships that want to go to this either Xandrix or the trading post. So that's what this dock is that he's aiming for. There is a dock further south, which would be at Rawside, but that's a lot further away. So For now, he's just going to take a few days. So if you guys want to do anything in that few days, you start seeing the shore disappear steadily as you guys start heading down this way.
I just stay in the crow's nest all this time.
All right. Fair enough.
By this point, I've completely given up on the whole robot act.
Well, nobody's really talking to you too much, other than to get you to do things that are like tie ropes that are higher up, because you can just sort of climb down the ladder a little bit and go across one of the masts, those sorts of things, to do the higher things. So
I find it hilarious. No one questioned the fact that he was in an argument over who would be captain with a mindless robot.
Well, nobody was down there at the time, I'm going to say. Everybody went up because they heard that there was going to be a disagreement about who's going to be captain, so they left that area.
Except for Skip, who obviously saw the results and went, another drunk captain.
Well, they know the results, so
Okay.
everybody knows who won. So, anything that Jaden or Howler wants to do in that time, specifically?
I'll start looking around for anything that might be valuable tucked under any secret compartment.
Alright, so around the time when you would normally go down to sleep, you start looking through the, or on one of the days, you just start looking through the drawer, or foot lockers, I should say, and start seeing if there's anything interesting. There's extra clothes in there for anybody who wants to, like, change or anything like that, although your armor would be superior if anything attacked you, obviously.
Yeah.
So the way I'm seeing this ship now, we're stopping during the night, is that right?
Yes, unfortunately,
Okay.
because you don't have a night crew, you
that's fine.
You have to stop during the night. And he puts, Gorworm tells everybody to put the anchor down to make sure that you guys don't float too much off course.
Well, anyway, should I make perception checks at night to make sure nothing's coming?
Yes, well, we'll get to that after you decide what you want to do. For the
Okay.
time. So he's looking through footlockers. There is some gold, about the equivalency of 20 throughout all the footlockers. These guys weren't very rich, but it is in coppers, like I said before, in coppers and silvers and those sorts of things. It's not in gold per se, but I'll say that you have 20 gold worth of money. And there are some extra weapons, although they look fairly rusted. So if you were to use them, they might have a -1 rather than a +1.
Okay.
So,
Are they
but you can still
weapons?
use them, or you can polish them to try to get them to be in working condition. Those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But
Are
until
they
then, they're no good. Sorry, what were you going to do?
Are any of them throwing weapons?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Throwing weapons, perhaps?
Oh, throwing weapons. That's what you said. There are some daggers which you could use as throwing knives, if anybody's interested in those. Howler might be. And as far as like throwing axes, which would be for more fighting people, like more fighters and those sorts of things, there's a boarding axe, but there's no throwing axes.
Okay.
A boarding axe is just a regular-sized axe, or actually, it's a great axe. It's classified as a great axe, and what it's used for is for when people are trying to board a ship. They stick the head of the axe into the ship and pull themselves up with it. So it's technically not used for fighting, but you could use it as a weapon to hit people with.
I will take one.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You hear from up the crow's nest.
It is nighttime, so you guys would be going down to rest. So He's right. He's
No,
nearby.
I just found it funnier.
Yeah. Well, he can take it if he wishes. It's a rusty boarding axe.
I'll
what it
start
currently is.
trying to kind of clean it up too. And like I'll probably like in that time too, probably in between times when I'm getting up and down at night, trying to get to know the like the Dragonborn, the Tabaski, if he's awake, and the
Tabaxi.
Zil. Was it Zil? Right? Zil.
Yeah, Zil. It's
Zil.
Xil.
Yeah,
Zil.
I'll be getting to know them better, talking to them. Not to Troxon or whatever his name was. I still don't trust him, but like I'm like at this point, those three know that I'm not a golem, basically.
All right, fair enough, and they know that you're putting on airs for him because you don't quite trust him. They'll understand. They're not evil in any way, so they're not going to undermine you. Yeah, as far as you know, that's right.
I'm pretty good at telling, guys. I'm pretty good at telling this in people, whether or not they're bad or good. Actually, insight check. That's a good point. I'm good at insight check.
Yeah, you could insight check.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a +5.
Right.
You're showing your screen, Matthew.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Okay.
It's fine.
Look at that.
Alright, so, yeah, with a 15, that's for one of them. So roll again for the other one.
Okay. I'll say that.
Right.
Okay, the 15 is for Skip, since, you know, he seems more like a type of person you can trust. And then the 22, I'll say, is when I'll talk to the Zeal later and get to know her better later.
Alright. So, for Skip, he seems quite open. He's willing to just talk to you about pretty much anything. As far as you know, he's trustworthy. He seems quite friendly, even. He does talk like a pirate.
Yeah!
Yeah, he goes "arr" and those sorts of things. But other than that, he's quite fine. Although you do have a slight suspicion he may have been on a pirate ship at one time or another, but
really?
He seems friendly. And
okay.
for Zil, she's quite aloof. She tries to keep to herself quite often. She has a long, forlorn stare into the distance when nobody's talking to her. She seems like she has a lot of baggage, possibly, but she doesn't want to share it. At least yet.
Then yeah, especially with her, I'll just gradually try and kind of slowly, not overbearingly though, if that makes sense, but kind of slowly just talk to her and get to know her.
Yeah, she'll understand. She mostly just talks when you guys want her to do something.
So at the times when she's looking off into the distance, I sometimes may look out there too, because like I'm always curious if someone's looking at something. Because like I said, I'm kind of new to the world, so when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, are they actually looking at something?
Yeah. So you curiously look where she's looking, and she sort of slightly gets perturbed, but she understands, and then she will move away from you when you do that. So she's like, and then walks away each time.
Brian just tilts his head and goes back up to the crow's nest, and he's like, seems someone's homesick.
Okay, so we'll say that 3 days pass. So if you guys think of anything during that time that you wanted to have done, you can just type that to me whenever. We only got a few minutes, so I'm going to say since anybody who stays above deck for a long period of time, depending on... I'm going to split the day up into 3 sections. each day. So it's going to be 3 days. So if you're up there for one section of the day, then you can do one perception check. But if you're like up there for the entire day, which like Thranen probably would be pretty much all the time up there.
For a fact, I pretty much only probably come down for 4 hours to do the whole rest thing and then go back up there.
Yeah.
So.
And to talk to people, of course, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you'll still get to make your perceptions.
Yeah.
So
it's
that's
basically
up to you. I'll let you do your honor system for 3 days with 3 sections each. So go ahead and roll for those.
I'll probably just be trying to see if there's any materials to make ammunition and stuff on the ship. I doubt there will be. But...
Do we count the first day when we got there, or is it starting the second day?
Well, you'll start the second day after you got on the boat. All right. So Jaden's spending a lot of time on top. All right.
I'm spending every time on top, or just whenever I'm like I said, when everyone's resting, probably for those 4 hours where I'm still up.
So this is for the first of the days we're doing, right?
Yep.
So there's 3 days with 3 sections each.
That's for the second period, like for the first day.
All right. So for the first day, I'll take the first 3 that Thranen did. Okay, so 15, 22, 11. Yeah. All right. Okay. So during the second section, Jaden doesn't notice, but you guys do. You see a large creature that's off in the distance. It seems to almost like a whale's back. You see cresting out of the water a few times. And then you see a flying shadow creature of some sort come down and try to grab it. You can't see what type of creature it is because it's too far away. But you do see the large thing. You see like a large tail come up and whip at it, and the flying thing flies away. So you notice that on the first day.
Well, that wasn't what I came up to deck for, so I'll head back downstairs.
All right, fair enough. So, Thranen, any comment from him?
If they tell him about it, he's like, "Oh, I'll keep a better eye out. Not get distracted as much." And then the second day, was that what I rolled for this time and got a 24 on?
Yeah. So roll one more for that day. From you. And Jaden, those are for all 3 days?
Yeah, it's for all 3 days.
Okay, so yeah, you didn't notice anything on the second day either. Alright, so Howler, did you go up on the second day at all?
Well, probably was a small period up, but depends on how long you need to be up to make a check.
That's fine, you can make one.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll say that at the same time, you both notice another creature of some sort. It's getting closer, and it looks like it has a hard-shelled back, and it's just gliding across the water, and it doesn't go up or down. And it looks like it has like a huge pointed shell, kind of like a hermit crab shell, except it's like huge and in the distance. Like it's 200 feet away, and it still looks huge.
Did you say it was coming towards us?
No, it's sort of moving past you, and then you notice like a seagull go over and land on it, and things like that. And it seems to be moving the opposite direction, like it's moving in the opposite direction. So it's something that's moving. It's not a landmark or anything.
I must say, I will never forget my experience on the sea after seeing that.
All right. And for the third day, let's see.
I guess I just roll 3 more, right?
Yeah. From you, 3 more. Jaden doesn't really notice anything.
I see nothing.
Does Howler come up?
The third day, I'm not even gonna bother coming up.
Okay, that's fine. So you guys don't notice. So you guys lay down to rest on the fourth day, or just it's the morning, early morning when it's still dark of the fourth day, and everybody's resting at this point. We'll say, except for Gore Warm, he'll stay up for a little bit longer. He stays up past to when you guys first wake up. He goes to sleep for a while, and same with Zill. And you don't really know at this point where Toric is, I think, if I said his name correctly. Man, I forget names so easy. Toric, that's it. Toric.
Oh, did he leave?
No, he's on the boat, but you currently don't see him where you guys are. Because you guys went down to sleep and you don't currently know where he is.
I'll go
But
up
you know that the other two would normally be awake at this point.
I'll go up and check where we usually play cards and drink.
All right, fair enough. You're just about to go to rest, and you go and check to see if he's there, just to see if he's there. And he seems to be. He has one of the wooden cups in his hand, and he's just staring at it.
Too much or too little?
Some of both, I suppose. He's just staring at it.
Well, I can only help you if it's too little.
He shoots you a grin, and he puts the cup down. Just sort of. The other nights, he sort of just fainted on the table, so maybe that's what he's in the middle of doing at the moment.
Okay.
So now would be about the time that you would normally go to sleep.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, just another couple minutes. Oh, did he go?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, just another 2 minutes. So Howler goes to sleep. Because it's his usual time that he would normally go to sleep with everybody else of the main three group.
Yeah, I mean, I could just sleep up in a room too. I don't take up much space.
Yeah. So you just sleep wherever it is you would like to sleep on the ship. It doesn't really matter. About halfway through your rest, you hear Gore Worm screaming, "Help! On deck, everyone! All hands!" So you guys were sleeping. If you were under deck, then you gotta go back up onto deck. If you were on deck sleeping, then you just wake up. So depends on where you guys would be.
I was kind of in the room where we spent most of the time, so it depends how far away it is.
Yeah, you can easily get up onto deck.
I'll do that then.
And you see Toric scrambling himself, sort of drunkenly, to try to get up onto the deck. And when you guys reach the deck, you look up at Gore Worm, and you don't see anything immediately in front of you when you're coming up from the deck. And he says, "There! Over there! In our way!" And you see in the way that large shell that you noticed before. It might be a different one. It's slightly different colored. It's in your way. And it seems to be heading towards your ship. And that is where we'll end off for this one.
Oh, darn it.
All right.
Well, okay, I have to go anyway.
All right.
I'll kill the broadcast for now.